Chapter-561 Tsunade returns _. Luhan is under a lot of pressure. There are evil enemies outside and strong masters inside. He wants to cut the mess with a quick knife, but he is a little powerless. Speaking of which, the speed of his growth has been flying fast, At least before he encountered the bottleneck period, but the time he came to this world was too short after all. Before he came, there were already strong people here. He is already very strong, but he still has no ability to fight against those supreme powerhouses in this world, not even one of them, let alone the forces behind those supreme powerhouses. In this case, if you can pull a strong collaborator, it will be better. Uchiha Madara that day, and Luhan didn't think about it at first, but then he made up his mind. Or on a whim. This is playing with fire. Because he was deceiving Uchiha Madara himself, that guy was deceived by Black Zetsu. He had been deceived for decades. He wanted to rely on the Eye of the Moon plan to realize the world's great harmony, but in fact it would lead to the fall of the whole world. Luhan naturally couldn't really help him, but this does not prevent Luhan from using him. This is cumbersome to do. To gain some trust from Uchiha Madara, because Luhan is too unsure of where he came from, but Luhan has time and patience. In fact, from another point of view, Luhan is here to subvert the world, and Uchiha Madara is one of the big bosses in the later stage. The advantages of getting involved with him earlier will definitely outweigh the disadvantages. Of course, Luhan will not mess around. He will come. The biggest advantage of this world is that he can predict the future. He can know the future and let the world develop naturally. Those important things that should have happened will definitely happen. Luhan does not want to interfere with the occurrence of these things too much. Otherwise, he will lose the advantage of being a prophet. Once the Hokage world gets out of control, for example, Kagaya Hime appears early because of the butterfly effect. Luhan doesn't want to be the 3665th subversive to die in this world. I don't know if Otsutsuki Kagaya's strength rating has reached level 100. And the Six Paths Fairy. In the days that followed, Luhan's life was busy but regular. Anbu had to deal with a lot of information every day, and some of the important information needed to be handled by Captain Anbu, Luhan. High-level military meetings are held almost every 2 days, which is already a regular meeting, and there are various emergency meetings. Captain Anbu should have been a knife, an extremely sharp knife, a murderous knife. But during this time, Luhan has completely become a mental worker. In the morning, he deals with various intelligence documents in the Anbu station. In the afternoon, he has to report to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sometimes there are meetings. At dusk, the little girl Kushina will be out of school. To do some teaching to Kushina. However, Luhan did not stop his cultivation because of this. Every night, he would fight with the faceless man for hours. That's it. 8 days later. This evening. Hokage building, Hokage office. This poison contains a very special substance, which is analyzed as an extinct poisonous weed. If Chiyo has this poisonous weed, it is estimated that it should be in stock, and it should be gone, otherwise she would have made more the same poison. An extremely rare herb is also used in the antidote. It is very rare and can only grow in an extremely harsh environment. The desk, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru stood side by side, and Tsunade was reporting to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Tsunade's mission this time was considered a rush time. It took 20 days before and after, and his mission was only one, and that was detoxification. And Jiraiya and Orochimaru are purely to protect her safety. After all, the three of them can play the strongest fighting force together. All the time, the three of them have been working together. Well, good. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded with satisfaction after listening to the report. Tsunade, as his direct disciple, did not let him down. Although the master led the door to practice in person, Tsunade's current master's various powerful medical ninjutsu and his knowledge of medicine. The opinions are not taught by Sarutobi Hiruzen, but the role of Sarutobi Hiruzen in Tsunade's life cannot be denied. Without Sarutobi Hiruzen laying a solid foundation for her, she may not be able to achieve today's achievements. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked down at the mission briefing again, then raised his hand and said, "Go and rest." Jiraiya and Orochimaru greeted Sarutobi Hiruzen, then turned around decisively, but Tsunade was a step behind. She seemed to want to say something, but she hesitated to say anything, but finally she didn't say anything, turned around slowly, and caught up with Jiraiya and Orochimaru footsteps. Sarutobi Hiruzen closed the briefing scroll and looked up at Tsunade's, leaving back with complicated eyes. He felt Tsunade's emotional abnormality, and he knew it was because of the cold light. Tsunade has always been excellent, and because of her excellence, Sarutobi Hiruzen is a little worried, and now he has regretted one thing. That is agreeing to Tsunade to marry Han Guang. At the same time, the gate of the ninja school is just after school. A large number of students are going out at the school gate, some are leaving with friends, and some are being picked up by elders. The age of the students at the ninja school is very wide, ranging from 5 to 12 years old. Generally speaking, parents will come to pick them up. Yes, they are all young, but not all of them are like that. Actually, I'm not bullying people, it's mainly because that guy is too bad, bullying my good friend, so I beat him. He once said that I was Nishi Yuhiki. I asked him face to face and he didn't admit. The little girl Uzumaki Kushina pouted and kept talking. Her pretty face still had some very light scratches and her clothes were dirty. Yes, the little girl had a fight at school again. What's the use of you telling me this? Hyuga Luo Ning, wearing a normal ninja uniform, came to pick up Kushina from school as a bright face, and took Kushina's little hand and joked, "You better think about how to explain it to him when you go back, he knew you were fighting again, hum." The two walked out of the school gate while talking and walked into the nearby forest path. "Why don't you go back today, Sister Luo Ning? Why don't you go to your house?" Kushina was a little scared, raised her head and winked at Hyuga Luo Ning to be cute. Hyuga Luo Ning hesitated. "Damn girl, what bad things have you done?" Lang Yuyu's voice suddenly sounded from behind the two of them. Chapter 0562 Madara wants to see you. Yeah, the little girl Kushina screamed, jumped up like a little rabbit, hid behind Hyuga Luo Ning, hugged Hyuga Luo Ning's arm, and looked very scared. Luhan was wearing casual clothes next to the big tree not far away, and tilted his head to look at Kushina, who was afraid and aggrieved. "What about you? What bad things have you done? I don't even dare to see anyone." "Kai, I don't have it, people are good." "You're good. Then why are your clothes dirty? What's the matter with the wound on your face?" "Yes, that's..." Kushina couldn't say anything, and hid from Hyuga Luo Ning again, even reaching out to hug Hyuga Luo Ning's waist, as if she was going to pull Hyuga Luo Ning as her back. Luhan walked over and stretched out his hand to pull Kushina out. Kushina kept dodging and circled around Hyuga Luo Ning. Luhan pulled and grabbed right, back and forth, and held Hyuga Luo Ning in his arms. This is a mistake. Kushina from the left, she hides to the right, grabs Kushina from the right, she hides to the left, always hiding behind Hyuga Luo Ning. Luhan grabs both left and right at the same time. Naturally it becomes a hug. Luhan's face was embarrassed, he moved, and immediately pulled out his hands, but he didn't expect that Hyuga Luo Ning would take the initiative to lean over and hug Luhan's waist with both hands. "Kushina, run, I helped you catch him." Hyuga Luo Ning also turned back. "Wow, you're so loyal, come on." Kushina was overjoyed, and she encouraged Hyuga Luo Ning by waving her fist. She turned around and quickly ran away without a shadow. Luhan raised his hand, neither hug nor push. Kushina ran away. Hyuga Luo Ning was still holding Luhan's waist, and a faint girly fragrance wrapped Luhan. Really embarrassing. "Hey, pay attention to the influence in public," Luhan said. "Just hold for a while." Hyuga Luo Ning buried her head in Luhan's chest and hummed. "It will be seen. Then change the place." Luhan didn't speak. What happened to the other place? Cheating. Gossip. Gossip. If this is to be seen. If this reaches Tsunade's ears. Luhan opened the insight map and let Hyuga Luo Ning hug it for a while, but it must not be seen. Even if that person doesn't know that Han is Hangguang, he will definitely say it if he doesn't know. The speed of the scandalous 8 trigrams has always been very fast, and then the senior ninja who knows that Han is Hangguang will know. Huh! Luhan suddenly exclaimed in surprise. The insight map shows that there is a green dot near the Hokage building, that is to say, there is a green name there, a total of 3 green names. Hyuga Luo Ning is holding in her arms, only Sen Luo and Tsunade are left, and Sen Luo will never appear near the Hokage building, so. Enough. I'm in a hurry. Luhan pushed Hyuga Luo Ning's shoulder. You take Kushina home first. Hearing Luhan say something happened, Hyuga Luo Ning obediently let go of her hand, lowered her head and said, like a little daughter-in-law who is always obedient. Luhan had a headache. He couldn't care about the headache anymore, and disappeared in front of Hyuga Luo Ning. A dozen meters ahead of the path in the forest is the turning point, and there is grass on the side. After Luhan disappeared, the grass swayed, and Kushina's little head stuck out from it. He looked around strangely and saw that Luhan really it was gone, so he got out of it and trotted all the way to Hyuga Luo Ning's side. Sister Luo Ning, thank you so much. You are so loyal. You are so kind. Kushina took Hyuga Luo Ning's hand and shook it for a while. Naturally, she was talking about Hyuga Luo Ning hugging Luhan. Well, I'm so good, you have to be obedient in the future. Hyuga Luo Ning pinched Kushina's little nose, and her cheeks were slightly yuhi. People have always been obedient. Kushina pouted. Well, Kushina is a good boy, let's go home. Hyuga Luo Ning pulled Kushina along the path. Go home. Which home? Kushina asked, looking up. This. Kushina froze for a moment. Home, this is a very general word, generally refers to the place where you live, but for Kushina, there are 2 places, one is Anbu's residence, and the other is the newlywed house of Luhan and Tsunade. She has always lived together, and Luhan is her guardian, so she also lives in the marriage house. Luhan just said that Hyuga Luo Ning should take Kushina home, but he didn't say which one. Where do you want to live? Hyuga Luo Ning threw the question back to Kushina. Of course it's the big house, so don't go back to Anbu. Kushina said decisively. She knew that Luhan would go back to Anbu's station at night, and if she found out, she would definitely teach her a lesson. The big house was talking about Luhan's home. In order to facilitate his cultivation, he recently ordered someone to build a super huge warehouse-style indoor practice field in the yard. Hokage building, the gate. Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru walked out one after another, and all stopped in the open space in front of the door. You're going to the Anbu station? Jiraiya asked, holding her chin in one hand. Yeah, Tsunade nodded, with mixed emotions. She came to see Sarutobi Hiruzen. She went home, but there was no one at home. It's alright, I'll go back. Orochimaru said quietly, seeing Tsunade didn't speak, turned around and left. Jiraiya looked like she wanted to say something, but hesitantly didn't say anything, sighed, and turned away. The 3 parted ways at the door. Tsunade hand seal, disappeared in front of the Hokage building. The village of Konoha is very large. Luhan wanted to get from the ninja school to the front of the Hokage building, but he couldn't do it right away. He hurried on the road with all his strength. The movement started, and from the perspective of the movement route, it was going to the back mountain. Sudden. Yuhi point on the insight map changed, and it changed directly to not far behind Luhan. Like a shadow, as Luhan moved, the big Yuhi point also moved. White Zetsu. This guy is at it again. Entering a forest again, with no one else around, Luhan suddenly stopped moving. How? Luhan turned his head slightly. Lord Madara wants to see you. White Zetsu said. Chapter 0563 _ There are ghosts. See me, when? Luhan turned around and asked. This time, White Setsu grew half-length out of the bushes, and he said, 10 days later, in the Valley of the End, you will be alone. No, Luhan immediately said. It's not that he didn't want to see Uchiha Madara, although it is very dangerous, but as long as you are careful and arrange Hiraishin Kunai in advance, Uchiha Madara at this time can't bring him too much threat. I can't guarantee to leave Konoha in 10 days. Quote. During the war, there is no mission. As the captain of Anbu, Luhan cannot leave Konoha at will. In comparison, Luhan is not as free as a low-level ninja. In a high position, there are bound to be gains and losses. Speaking of which, Sarutobi Hiruzen is less free than him. Sarutobi Hiruzen must sit in Konoha and cannot leave without permission unless there is something extremely important. Then tell me the time and place. White Setsu said. He seemed to have expected Luhan's situation. I can't be sure, but you can come to Konoha every 7 days. If there is a chance, I will inform you. Luhan paused, then added, or, you can leave a clone in Konoha for easy contact. I need to go back and tell Madara-sama first. Good. White Setsu left, Luhan quickly walked out of the woods, and then the hand seal disappeared. In fact, his mind was not on Uchiha Madara at this time. That guy definitely didn't dare to mess around. Luhan was thinking about Tsunade. These 10 or 20 days of lovesickness made him unable to restrain his excitement. He just wanted to be happy. Some see Tsunade. He understands that Tsunade may be worse than him. Because Tsunade was caught in the middle, he was in a dilemma and made Luhan anxious. Luhan could ignore it and give it a shot. But what about Tsunade? Near the southwest entrance of the back mountain in Konoha village, Tsunade appeared out of thin air under a tall building, then turned into a glimpse and ran down the alley for a while, and the hand seal disappeared again, and then appeared in a grove closest to the entrance of the back mountain. Tsunade appeared, and Luhan followed. Tsunade didn't notice because Luhan appeared in the back, and there was no malicious intent. He was about to jump up when Luhan raised his hand and put it on her shoulder. Tsunade was suddenly startled, leaned forward, and turned around quickly. When she saw the person behind her, her body suddenly softened, and her beautiful eyes filled with excitement and a little sparkling color. Luhan raised his hand and pulled hard, then hugged Tsunade and hugged him tightly. Are you all right? I miss you so much. The two spoke almost simultaneously. Worry and longing merged into endless love. After a while. At the end of the sunset, at the end of the evening, the afterglow of the setting sun shrouded the Konoha village in a glow. The mansion in the forest, the bedroom on the second floor of the main building. Suddenly 2 people appeared in the house. The woman was thrown on the soft slump, and the man jumped on it. The 2 tumbled together, both pulling each other's clothes. The so-called, little Bishung, was newly married. Wait, Tsunade suddenly pushed Luhan's shoulder. Don't make trouble. At this time, Luhan wanted to kiss Tsunade's collarbone, but Tsunade pushed him hard. What's wrong? Luhan had to stop and ask. What's the smell on you? Tsunade asked with a wink and a sniff. It smells good. Women are always sensitive and alert, especially married women. Do you want to be so bloody? Luhan also lowered his head and sniffed at himself. His heart whimpered. The smell on his body came from Hyuga Luo Ning. He had been hugged before, and naturally it was stained on him. Of course he couldn't admit it. His expression Zeruo said. The smell on Kushina, the little girl is cute and stinky. Really? You doubt me? Good. You actually doubt me. Let's see how I teach you. Yeah. The door, the evening breeze caressed. Sister Luo Ning, you are very kind. I promise to be obedient in the future, and I will never make you angry again. Uzumaki Kushina walked up and down with a lollipop in his mouth, and his little face was full of happiness and happiness. Figure. Hyuga Luo Ning was also in a good mood today, and slapped Uzumaki Kushina's nose with a smile. I bought you something to eat, and you said it sounded good. Your master often buys it for you, but you always turn your back on it. Recognize a person, and call him a bad person behind his back. Quote. He's the bad guy. Kushina wrinkled her nose. The two talked and pushed the door into the mansion. They came back, because they were walking very slowly, and before returning, Hyuga Luoning took Uzumaki Kushina to the street and bought a lot of candy. The little girl made a bet with Lu Han that time. Lu Han taught her the skills of throwing kunai. Only after she learned it can she eat lollipops. 7 or 8 days ago, the bet was completed, and the little girl can eat lollipops now. Other candies are also available, but they are rationed every day and cannot be eaten too much. The two entered the lobby on the first floor of the main building, and Kushina started to run around carrying the bag with the package. She hid a few candies in every corner. Hyuga Luoning went to the kitchen. She was in charge of taking care of Kushina. Naturally, she made dinner. Originally, ninjas of her age have no cooking skills, but she has been taking care of Kushina for a while, and her craftsmanship is good. Hyuga Luoning is busy in the kitchen. Kushina, who was running around, suddenly stopped, the boss staring, as if he heard something, and didn't dare to breathe. Sister Luoning, Sister Luoning. Kushina ran to the door of the kitchen and shouted in a low voice, and at the same time she looked up and looked around, as if there was something. What's wrong? Hyuga Luoning put down the kitchen knife and asked back. You hear, there are ghosts. Kushina's voice became even lower. What the hell? Hyuga Luoning suddenly felt amused, walked over to Kushina and touched the little head. Stop reading messy books. Really, listen. Kushina became anxious, but still didn't dare to speak loudly. It's a female ghost. She seems to be crying. And humming. I still want to be sad. It's scary. It's from above. It's coming. Kushina raised her finger and pointed upstairs. Chapter 0564-Catch Ghost. I have to say, the little girl has sharp ears, and the voice is very depressing. It is indeed a woman's voice. It is indeed a cry and humming. It seems very uncomfortable. Hyuga Luoning raised her head and listened to her ears. I heard it right away, the sound if there was nothing. Kushina has hugged Hyuga Luoning's hand tightly, trembling with fear. Since she entered Anbu, she began to read. It's not that she is diligent, but that Anbu can't come and go at will. Kushina is only 7 years old, and she is the age to love to play. It is her greatest pleasure. She reads interesting readings, biographies of historical celebrities, legends of monsters, ghosts, and the like. Speaking of which, the ninja world is also a place where ghost culture is prevalent, and there are also many female ghosts, such as 2 women, Yuhiyi Shou, Beifan Po, Maoyu, etc. The little girl was really scared. Said that a person suddenly jumped out. A little girl would not be so afraid. She was afraid of what she couldn't see. There's a thief. Hyuga Luoning reacted very differently from Kushina. Naturally, she wouldn't believe what Kushina said. She raised her hand and gestured, "Shish," and then she lowered her voice and said, "Kushina, you go out and go to the yard. Go, in the middle of the courtyard. This house is protected by Anbu ninjas. Of course, no Anbu ninjas dare to enter here rashly, and let Kushina go to the yard. I'm not afraid of any accident in Kushina." Luo, Sister Luoning, what are you doing? Of course, catching a ghost. Hyuga Luoning also said that it was catching a ghost, and deliberately frightened Kushina and told Kushina to leave quickly. You are so brave. Stop talking, get out. Oh. Kushina lightly ran to the door, opened it carefully, and then ran to the middle of the yard. Although this house is usually unoccupied, everyone knows that this is the house of Captain Anbu Hongguang. Who dares to trespass here and can avoid the Anbu ninjas outside? At least he must be a Jonin. Come here. Is it for the sake of gathering information on Hongguang? That voice is really weird. A woman's voice. Tsunade, Sama is still out of the mission and hasn't come back. How could there be a woman's voice? Could it be? Hyuga Luoning walked up the stairs cautiously. She did not use the Byakugan perspective immediately, because there would be chakra fluctuations. This building is so big. Although the sound insulation effect is good, the energy fluctuations of chakra fluctuations are absolutely unstoppable. Living. Slowly, Hyuga Luo Ning walked down the corridor on the second floor, and the strange voice became much clearer. She face Yuhi. Yuhi's face burns like Yuhi. She could hear what the voice was. Although Hyuga Luo Ning is only 15 years old and has never had that kind of experience, she has never eaten pork and has always seen a pig run. Hyuga Luo Ning has really seen it. She is a Hyuga ninja. Naturally, I have seen some things that I shouldn't see. Where are the men and women from? They dare to come here and fuck. Hyuga Luo Ning bit Kiba and clasped her hands together. Byakugan, open. Hyuga Luo Ning was stunned. Perspective, she naturally saw it. The two people in the room were clearly Han Guang and Tsunade. Simply unsightly. It stands to reason that at this time, Hyuga Luo Ning should look away and turn away. As if nothing happened, they are husband and wife, they can do whatever they like, no problem. But she didn't, bit her lower lip lightly, her body trembled a little, and she continued to watch, her face became more and more Yuhi. In the room. Tsunade has been lost in a sea of madness, like a boat, ups and downs, lost himself. Lu Han knew everything. Hyuga Luo Ning and Kushina came back, he knew it, and he felt it right away because of his strength, but he didn't stop. Why did he stop? There was no public, the couple were in their own room, doing whatever they wanted, but he didn't expect that Hyuga Luo Ning would peep. Lu Han clearly felt the chakra fluctuations when Byakugan was turned on. Damn girl, I haven't finished watching, and don't leave. Lu Han couldn't take it anymore, although he was not disadvantaged by Hyuga Luo Ning, and Tsunade was a woman, but it felt so uncomfortable. He didn't want to spoil the mood, but it seemed that he couldn't. There's a situation. Lu Han patted Tsunade on the shoulder, then got up and disappeared. In the moment before disappearing, a neat set of ninja equipment appeared on him under the effect of ninjutsu. The corridor outside the door, near the stairwell. Hyuga Luo Ning was staring wide-eyed, as if she didn't want to miss any details, but saw Lu Han suddenly disappear. Tsunade also disappeared a second later. She panicked and turned around to run, but bumped directly into Lu Han's arms. Hey, where are you going? Lu Han said quietly, looking at Hyuga Luo Ning with a sad face. Call. Tsunade appeared out of thin air behind Hyuga Luo Ning, wrapped in a black robe, but he still didn't understand what was going on, and said, "This is." "What's wrong?" "She peeps," Lu Han said directly. Hyuga Luo Ning's face Yuhi was about to bleed, standing there and wouldn't move. ... Night falls quietly. Hokage building, Hokage office. Quote. At present, the bounty on the daimyo has been withdrawn, and the daimyo has decided to conduct a thorough internal investigation. White Fang was standing at the desk, making a mission report. He has just returned to Konoha, and the task of protecting the daimyo has been completed. He could have come back a few days ago. The task period is 15 days, but because he went to the land of rain once during the task, it was delayed. 5 or 6 days. Okay, nice job. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, still reading the mission briefing. Go and rest first. Yes. White Fang took the order and turned to leave. Wait. Sarutobi Hiruzen stopped Hitaki Sakumo as if he suddenly remembered something. Lord Hokage. White Fang returned to the desk. Sarutobi Hiruzen dropped the mission briefing, looked directly at White Fang and said, "You have a good rest these few days and keep your spirits up. I plan to arrange a duel between you and Han Guang." Chapter 0565_Unrivaled Konoha's Swordsmanship. Duel. Hitaki Sakumo was taken aback for a moment, but he didn't expect Sarutobi Hiruzen to make such an arrangement suddenly. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, "Duel, not words such as sparring." Duel is usually performed with all his strength, although Hitaki Sakumo is confident that he will win. Over the cold light, but do not understand the meaning of this duel. The last time Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted Hitaki Sakumo to duel with Hangguang, it was for Anbu's captaincy and to beat Hangguang. What is this time for? Remind you one thing, Hangwang has Mangekyo Sharingan. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Mangekyo, Hataki Sakumo exclaimed, showing a look of disbelief. Because this. Hataki Sakumo suddenly understood why Sarutobi Hiruzen would suddenly withdraw Hangwang from the daimyo prefecture. How he owns Mangekyo, I'm still investigating. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued, I'll send you a copy of Hangwang's recent information later. His strength is more terrible than you think. This duel, are you confident? Confidence, of course, is. Hataki Sakumo hesitated. With the strength of the two of us, once we start fighting, the situation is very likely to get out of control. Even if Lord Hokage personally controls the field, I am afraid it may be an accident. Hataki Sakumo didn't think so before. He used to think that as long as Sarutobi Hiruzen was there would be no accident if he duel with Hangwang, but now it's different. Hangwang actually has Mangekyo Sharingan. This completely overturned Hataki Sakumo's previous assessment of Hangwang's strength. In the past, he felt that he only needed to show 60% of his strength to defeat Hangwang, but now, at least he has to show 90% of his strength, or even all his strength. In this case, it is hard to say whether Sarutobi Hiruzen can intervene in time to prevent the accident from happening. Don't worry, it's not just me, there are other people watching the game, and there will be no accidents. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. He had thought about it for a long time. That's good. Hataki Sakumo was relieved. The other people Sarutobi Hiruzen said must be the strong people in the village. Considering the current war situation, many strong people are out on missions. Those who can watch the battle in spare time must have the strength to intervene. The battle with Hangwang is likely to be some older generation of strong, that is, a generation higher than Sarutobi Hiruzen, who survived the last ninja war. Because of their age, most of them will not easily go to the battlefield. Only the slightly younger ones like Inuzuka Tears will still carry heavy responsibilities. Lord Hokage, this duel is for. Hataki Sakumo asked again. In fact, he had already thought of something, and it must have something to do with Mangekyo. Let Hangwang feel the pressure and let him understand that there are people out there. I hope you can become the target that Hangwang wants to surpass. So you have to win, I think you understand. Sarutobi Hiruzen tapped the table lightly, his eyes were meaningful. Hataki Sakumo got it. He has not been with Sarutobi Hiruzen for a day or two, and he is very clear about Sarutobi Hiruzen's style of doing things. Sarutobi Hiruzen is looking for someone to suppress the cold light. Pressure can be transformed into power or into control. Sarutobi Hiruzen chose White Fang, and as long as Hataki Sakumo defeats Hangwang in full view, the goal will be achieved. Let Hangwang understand what it is, and he will become restrained. And once Hangwang confirms White Fang is the target of transcendence, he needs to catch up. As long as White Fang keeps growing and becomes stronger, he can keep pressing Hangwang. As long as Hangwang can't surpass White Fang, he will not dare to make trouble. In fact, Hataki Sakumo only understands some, but not all. Sarutobi Hiruzen has another meaning. He wants to tell Hangwang through this duel that you are not indispensable. You are not irreplaceable. There are people who are better than you. White Fang didn't think of this, just because he didn't know that the conflict between Sarutobi Hiruzen and Hangwang had intensified. Lord Hokage, have you ever considered what the consequences will be once more people know that Hangwang owns Mangekyo Sharingan? Hataki Sakumo has a new question. Sarutobi Hiruzen just said that there will be people watching the battle, most likely the old guys with aloof status. If they know that Hangwang has Mangekyo, it is hard to say what they will think. There may be some trouble, Sarutobi Hiruzen said directly, but I'll fix it. He had obviously thought about it. This. Hataki Sakumo hesitated again, thinking, and paused. Lord Hokage, this subordinate thinks that the less people know about Hangwang's Mangekyo Sharingan, the better. The Uchiha people know that something will happen. Moreover, Hangwang is Captain Anbu. In the eyes of others, he is your number one confidant, and can even represent you in some special cases, so. Then what do you say? Sarutobi Hiruzen threw the question back. Blade, Hataki Sakumo said immediately. Comparing the knife. Knife technique. Yes, I compare swordsmanship with Hangwang. It's just swordsmanship. I had seen his swordsmanship before in the Daming Mansion. It can be a pure swordsmanship competition, which will achieve the goal, and he will not expose Mangekyo Sharingan. Quote. Okay. Sarutobi Hiruzen slapped the table and smiled faintly. That's better than swordsmanship. Sarutobi Hiruzen was overjoyed. He was still worried before. What if White Fang lost? Now there is no such worry. White Fang will never lose compared to swordsmanship. White Fang's swordsmanship is the best in Konoha. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen is ashamed. And even in the entire ninja world, in terms of swordsmanship, White Fang is definitely a first-class existence. Second only to perverts such as Hanzo and the leader of the Iron Country. Speaking of which, Hanzo is known as the god of the ninja world, and his main ability is swordsmanship, but even if Hanzo is strong in swordsmanship, he chased and killed White Fang more than half a year ago, but he still let White Fang escape. That time, White Fang was injured for more than a month, and after that, he broke into a butterfly, and his swordsmanship went further. Only compared to swordsmanship, Sarutobi Hiruzen has absolute confidence in White Fang. Will he agree? It's not fair to him if it's just swordsmanship. Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little embarrassed. He will definitely agree, White Fang affirmed. Chapter 0566_It's the taste. At night, at Han Guang's house, the table was filled with all kinds of food. Today was Tsunade's return, and it was the day of reunion. Naturally, this meal should not be sloppy. Lu Han, Tsunade, Hyuga Luo Ning, and Uzumaki Kushina were sitting around the table, eating and chatting. The atmosphere was relaxed, and there was a strange feeling. Hyuga Luo Ning kept her head down. Yuhi's face was pale for a while. She didn't speak, and she didn't eat a few bites of food. Sister Luo Ning, you look so bad, are you sick? The little girl Kushina asked with concern, her big eyes blinking. Ah, what? Hyuga Luo Ning didn't seem to hear the little girl's words. She raised her head and immediately became very nervous. She glanced forward, noticed the faces of Lu Han and Tsunade, and then lowered her head again. The expression on Yuhi's face was the same. She has been pretending to be transparent for a while. Before dark, she was found peeping by Lu Han and Tsunade. At that time, she was about to cry. The feeling of embarrassment and even wanting to find a hole in the ground was the first time in her life, and it had never happened before. The thing that embarrassed her so much, fortunately, Tsunade didn't embarrass her. It was mainly in Tsunade. Speaking of which, Hyuga Luo Ning was not afraid of Lu Han, but she was really afraid of Tsunade, and she felt guilty. Are you really sick? The little girl looked uneasy and reached out and touched Hyuga Luo Ning's forehead. Across the table, Lu Han and Tsunade sat side by side. Tsunade suddenly put down his chopsticks, looked up and said, "Are you sick? Come with me, I'll check you." After Tsunade finished speaking, she got up and left the room. She didn't give Hyuga Luo Ning a chance to refuse. Hyuga Luo Ning, who was sitting on her knees, trembled and looked up at Lu Han as if asking for help. She didn't dare to face Tsunade alone now. Go ahead, sooner or later. Lu Han glanced at Hyuga Luo Ning and said, as Lu Han said, it was a matter of time. Hyuga Luo Ning lowered her head and thought for a while, then got up and left the room. Only Lu Han and Kushina were left in the house. The little girl was so frightened that she didn't dare to speak. She lowered her face and buried her face in the bowl. She kept pulling the rice and praying in her heart, "Can't see me, can't see me, can't see me." She was afraid of getting along with Lu Han alone. She hadn't made it clear about the school fight. Kushina's guilty conscience. Lu Han wanted to laugh, but pretended to be serious, fighting again. In the yard, under the bare cherry trees. Tsunade waited for a while before hearing footsteps behind him. "Aren't you giving up?" Tsunade said lightly. Hyuga Luo Ning stopped, not knowing how to answer. she didn't expect Tsunade's first sentence to be this. What Tsunade said was not about voyeurism at all, but about Hyuga Luoning's love for Luhan. In fact, Tsunade wanted to talk to Hyuga Luoning for a long time, but there was no suitable opportunity. What does Hyuga Luoning think about Luhan? Tsunade is clear that she had given Hyuga Luo a bad idea back then. Han is in trouble now, I don't want you to trouble her, understand? Tsunade turned to look at Hyuga Luoning. When Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning returned to the house, the little girl Kushina had already knelt down and sat beside Luhan for dinner. Her eyes were still Yuhi's. When the two entered the door, Luhan just looked up and didn't ask much. He didn't care what Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning talked about, because he believed that with Tsunade's intelligence, everything could be handled well. Come on, eat chicken drumsticks. Luhan took a drumstick and put it in the Kushina bowl. Because the little girl sat next to Luhan, Tsunade had to sit aside with Hyuga Luoning. Hyuga Luoning was in a very depressed mood. She knelt there and still didn't speak. Tsunade reached out and brought her tableware and chopsticks. She frowned suddenly, and moved her nose. She smelled a familiar aroma, more intense, and tilted her head to look. To Hyuga Luoning, she could not help leaning closer, bowed her head and sniffed on Hyuga Luoning's shoulder. It's the taste. At that time, Tsunade smelled this smell on Luhan, and asked about it. Luhan said it was from Kushina, but Tsunade didn't think much about it. It's understandable that the little girl loves stinky beauty. It now appears that this is not the case. Hyuga Luoning tilted her head slightly and glanced at Tsunade, not understanding why Tsunade suddenly approached her. Tsunade remained calm, her expression never changed. She would not question Luhan in front of outsiders, and his wife should not shame her husband. Before Tsunade and Luhan got married, someone taught her. Luhan was coaxing the little girl and didn't notice Tsunade's abnormality. Snapped. The chopsticks in Tsunade's hand suddenly broke, and a crisp sound attracted everyone's attention. The quality is really bad, it's really unlucky, Tsunade said calmly, throwing away the broken chopsticks, and picking up a pair of unused chopsticks from the table. Her heart was not calm, but Luhan could see that naturally, chopsticks won't break by themselves. They were broken by Tsunade. With Tsunade's strength, even iron chopsticks can be broken, not to mention bamboo chopsticks. But why did she break the chopsticks? It doesn't seem to be intentional, it can only be caused by emotional instability that leads to confusion in the control of one's own power. Why? Luhan was about to say something, but before he could say it, he suddenly turned his head to look out the window, then smiled and said, "A friend is here." After saying that, Luhan disappeared into the room. Tsunade also looked up out the window. Yard. Hataki Sakumo and Hataki Taishuo entered the door at the same time. They didn't make an appointment, and they didn't come all the way. They just happened to meet on the way. As soon as the two walked into the middle of the yard, Luhan appeared out of thin air with a welcoming gesture. Task completed. Luhan smiled. Yeah. White Fang nodded and looked around the yard again. It's a pity, I didn't have time to come back to drink your wedding wine. I've seen the teacher. Hataki Taishuo saluted Luhan. Konoha, who had returned with White Fang, went home to visit his parents, so he immediately came to see Luhan, the teacher. Yeah. Luhan nodded to Hataki Sakumo. Call. Tsunade appeared beside Luhan out of thin air. White Fang smiled, just about to say something. Thump. Hataki Taishuo knelt down directly, bowed to Tsunade and said, I have seen Xinjiang. Tsunade was startled and looked at Hataki Taishuo with a startled look. What's the situation? Chapter 0567_Night Talk. Tsunade and Hataki Taishuo have known each other since childhood. Hataki Taishuo is older, so he always calls him Tsunade-sama in front of him, and calls his name behind his back. From eldest sister to sister-in-law, this change is indeed a big and scary one. In fact, Hataki Taishuo didn't plan to scare Tsunade. Even if he met his wife for the first time, he didn't need to kneel. But these 2 days, on the way back, Hotake Teishuo was always run on by Aburame Shanyu. Shuo challenged Lu Han. It was too disrespectful. He wanted to embarrass Lu Han. If Tsunade found out about this, he would be beaten. Hotake Teishuo was afraid of being beaten, so he bowed to his wife when he saw Tsunade. I all knelt. I respect you so much, I am so respectful, do you still have the nerve to trouble me? Hotake Teishuo thought so. I have accepted Teishuo as a direct disciple to teach swordsmanship. Seeing Tsunade's frightened look, Lu Han said quickly, he has officially apprenticed. Lu Han looked at Hotake Teishuo again and said, get up. So that's what it is. Tsunade seemed to understand, but immediately felt wrong again, looking at Lu Han. Wait. You teach him swordsmanship? Lu Han nodded. Tsunade's eyes were puzzled. She looked at Hotake Sakumo and Lu Han. She knew very well that Hotake Teishuo had always followed White Fang to practice swordsmanship. He had obtained the true inheritance of White Fang. In the top 10, Lu Hanqiang is strong, but not in swordsmanship. Swordsmanship may not even be as good as Hotake Teishuo. How can he teach Hotake Teishuo? Besides, can you teach better than White Fang? White Fang's swordsmanship surpasses Konoha's. It was like this 2 years ago, and now his strength is not known to what extent. Han and White Fang are robbing apprentices. Is this okay? Tsunade was a little worried. She didn't know if it was because of Mangekyo that there was a rift between Lu Han and White Fang, so Lu Han did such a thing. Tsunade. Hotake Sakumo saw Tsunade's doubts and smiled. Don't think about it, Taishuo's swordsmanship is far inferior to Hangguang, and there has been a bottleneck. Hangguang's swordsmanship is different from me, I teach Taishuo to help he broke through the bottleneck. Quote. Hotake Teishuo apprenticed to Hangguang to practice swordsmanship. Hotake Sakumo was the first to know about it, even earlier than Lu Han himself knew. If it wasn't for White Fang's nod, Hotake Teishuo would not have dared to go to Lu Han for apprenticeship. Lu Han welcomed White Fang and Hotake Teishuo into the house. The meal was almost finished. When Hyuga Luo Ning saw the person, she first removed the food from the table, made a pot of tea, and then took the little girl Kushina upstairs. Tsunade knelt down beside Lu Han, poured tea for a few people, and had guests at home. As a wife, she should have done so. Hotake Teishuo was a little frightened. He was really afraid of Tsunade and was frightened by Aburame Shanyu. He even got up and wanted to take the teapot. Master, I'll come. Because of his apprenticeship with Lu Han, he is already a junior here. Naturally there is no reason for Tsunade to pour tea for him. Just like Tsunade went to Sarutobi Hirazan's house in private, and it is impossible for Sarutobi Lake Biwa to pour tea. Sit down. Tsunade gave Hotake Teishuo a sideways glance and said, she was a little upset, but it wasn't that she had a problem with Hotake Teishuo. She still didn't know that Hotake Teishuo had troubled Lu Han. Lu Han didn't even bother to mention this kind of thing, so naturally he wouldn't talk about it. Hotake Teishuo could only withdraw his hand in embarrassment and sit back honestly. Speaking of which, Hotake Teishuo is also a man of influence in Konoha village. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is a genius of the generation, but in this room, his status and strength are all the lowest. Anbu Captain Han Guang, S-Unit Captain White Fang, Hokage personally passed on, the most talented medical ninja, Tsunade, can't compare to him. Tsunade poured tea for a few people, while Lu Han and White Fang started chatting. How did you find out that there was something wrong with Kang Yi? White Fang asked, looking at Lu Han. Is there really something wrong with him? Lu Han was surprised. Did you find out anything? Yeah, White Fang nodded. I didn't expect that the mastermind behind wanting to be famous was him. Lu Han was startled. Kang Yi is the mastermind behind the scenes. Lu Han didn't expect that. He just judged that there was something wrong with Yuhi's name at the beginning. Why is it him? Isn't it Kurigakure? The other bounties about Konoha were indeed issued by Kurigakure, but not the daimyo. White Fang continued, actually, it's strange to think about it. Killing the daimyo will not weaken Konoha's strength. The daimyo has many descendants, and he died. Naturally, someone will inherit the position of the great name, and the short-term turmoil will not affect much. Quote. What's the matter? Before you left that day, you told me that he had a problem, so I started to investigate, and I did find something unusual, but King Yi has a special status, not only a general, but also the son of a daimyo. After I told the daimyo appointed his cronies to investigate, and in just half a day, he found out that there was indeed a problem with King Yi, a huge problem. Quote. What's the problem? He embezzled military spending, 100 million taels. A reward. Yes, he misappropriated the 100 million taels to reward the head of the daimyo. White Fang sighed and shook his head. I didn't expect that for the sake of the daimyo, he even wanted to kill his biological father. White Fang told Lu Han the situation. It has to be said that King Yi is young, yet extremely ruthless. He is the son of the daimyo, and has been entrusted with a heavy responsibility. He holds hundreds of thousands of troops from the daimyo mansion. Although the mortal army is vulnerable in front of ninjas, ninjas are very few. Unrest, missing nin bandits are rampant, and the mortal army is used to maintain stability and prevent the economic system from collapsing completely. That way, the loss will be even greater. The military expenditure of the Daming House is extremely huge. King Yi embezzled 100 million taels and offered bounties on the black market for famous people to usurp the throne. For this reason, he also gave his eldest brother a chronic poison. Fortunately, it was discovered in time. King Yi's problem has been solved, and White Fang also forced out King Yi's secret key in the black market. Before returning, he visited the Land of Rain once and cancelled the reward in the black market. The black market has chosen the Land of Rain as the opening location for the second time in a row. Lu Han understands that this must be Black Zetsu's idea. This guy just wants to make the ninja world more chaotic. 100 million taels, killing your own father is really cruel. Lu Han sighed after hearing this. White Fang also nodded in agreement. After that, the two chatted a little more, and as the night got darker, Hitoki Taishuo saw that it was too late, so he left first, but White Fang didn't leave. Speak straight, is there something wrong? Lu Han asked. He felt that something was wrong with White Fang. The two hadn't talked for so long before. It's something. Hitoki Sakumo put down the teacup and glanced at Tsunade. He didn't seem to want Tsunade to know about it, but he couldn't explain it clearly. He dragged on here and waited until Hitoki Taishuo left. It was Tsunade's turn, but he didn't know what to do. Tsunade is the girl here. Master, the temper is very hot. Lu Han didn't have so many scruples. He tilted his head and said to Tsunade, it's late at night, go and rest first. Tsunade got up and went upstairs. Tell me, what's the matter? Lu Han asked. 7 days later, at the deepest training ground in Anbu Station, you and I will have a sword fight. White Fang said. The corner of the stairs, Tsunade's expression changed when he heard Hitoki Sakumo's words. His eyes widened. What does Lord Hokage mean? Yes, Lord Hokage will personally press the field when the time comes. Voices came one after another. Tsunade's face became extremely ugly, and his eyes were even a little frightened. Teacher wants to use White Fang's hand to kill Han Guang. Chapter-561-580 The news goes viral. No wonder Tsunade thinks so. White Fang's swordsmanship is superior to Konoha. Anyone who knows White Fang knows this. White Fang and Hangguang have a swordsmanship duel, which is extremely unreasonable. The two should compete against each other, and they should show their full strength. It is only swordsmanship, and it is clear that they want White Fang to kill Han Guang. Not that Tsunade has persecution delusions, but that since Lu Han's Mangekyo Sharingan incident was exposed, she was very worried about such a day. Sarutobi Hiruzen had no legitimate reason to kill Han Guang. Considering the overall situation and various influences, he could not have shot himself, so he would use White Fang's hand to kill. If Han Guang dies in a duel, it will certainly cause some disturbances, but it will not have any bad effects. If he dies in a duel, he can only say that his skills are inferior to others. He won't agree. He suppresses most of his strength and only uses swordsmanship to duel with White Fang. He definitely won't do such a stupid thing. He should understand his situation better than me. Tsunade thought of this and relaxed again. Breathed. In a duel, it's fine if you don't agree. Any duel must be agreed upon by both parties. After all, it's a matter of life and death. The danger of a duel can't be compared by sparring. Well, since it's Lord Hokage, and you come to explain it yourself, then I agree. Lu Han said. I knew you would agree. White Fang smiled, looking into Lu Han's eyes, his eyes filled with fighting intent. In Konoha village, White Fang hadn't met anyone he wanted to challenge for a long time. I don't agree. With a shout, Tsunade jumped out from the entrance of the stairs, dodged to the edge of the wood and said, I don't agree. White Fang looked at Tsunade in astonishment. He didn't expect Tsunade to eavesdrop, and said to himself, crap. Lu Han knew that Tsunade was eavesdropping just now, but he didn't expect Tsunade to have such a big reaction. He raised his head and said, it's just a duel, don't be nervous, there will be no problem. I don't agree, Tsunade said again, staring at White Fang. Han will not duel you. You should die. With a wry smile on his face, White Fang knew it, and Tsunade knew about it, and he must have come to a conclusion. This is Lord Hokage's order, and I am also acting according to the order. Han Guang can also reconsider. It's late at night, farewell. White Fang disappeared into the room in a flash. This guy ran away. He didn't want to argue with Tsunade. He was also a little scared. Tsunade would be very violent when she got angry. What if she did something to herself? If you don't fight back, you won't be beaten to death. Fight back. Fighting Hangguang's wife in front of Hangguang. The duel will definitely be ahead of schedule. Only running is the best. Sooner or later they ran, so White Fang ran first. Han, what do you think? Do you think your swordsmanship is better than White Fang? Why do you agree to this kind of duel? Don't duel, okay. Tsunade looked at Lu Han again, and he was still angry at first, then it's soft, it can even be said to be a begging. What are you worried about? White Fang will kill me. Lu Han put Tsunade on the wood and hugged his shoulders. Yes, he will kill you. In terms of swordsmanship, he is the strongest in Konoha. Tsunade said nervously, you are not good at swordsmanship, why did you agree to him? I know what you're thinking. Trust me, White Fang won't do that. Besides, I don't necessarily lose to him. Lu Han affirmed. Why do you trust him so much? How long have you known him? He used to be the captain of Anbu. You must know what tasks Anbu ninjas perform. The people White Fang killed are better than you. Tsunade's tone was excited. Lu Han suddenly raised his hand and pressed Tsunade's lips. He didn't let Tsunade say any more. He stared into Tsunade's eyes and said seriously, trust me. I'm not wrong. Naturally, Lu Han couldn't see the wrong person. He could see clearly whether White Fang's name was Yuhi or Orange. After Hatake Sakumo left Lu Han's house, he came to the Hokage building and told Sarutobi Hiruzen about the situation. Sarutobi Hiruzen explained before that this matter should be kept secret. The fewer people know about it, the better. The identities of Han Guang and White Fang are very special. The two duel, and more people know about it. The person who is in the duel is Tsunade. Sarutobi Hiruzen thinks that the White Fang will win. Tsunade knows it must be able to think. The person who loses the duel is usually either dead or injured. The stronger the strength of the two duel, the higher the possibility of death. Although Tsunade has a bad temper, she has always been upright. She is Han Guang's wife and understands Anbu's rules. White Fang smiled bitterly. I was negligent at the time. I didn't expect her to eavesdrop on my conversation with Han Guang. What was her reaction? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked serious. The reaction is very strong, and I firmly disagree with my duel with Hangguang," White Fang said. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned, and was silent for a while before saying, "Okay, I understand, you go back and prepare in peace, the duel will continue as usual." White Fang hurried away. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his hand and rubbed his temples, feeling a little headache. Many times, he can't do anything about Hangguang, and he didn't expect Tsunade to have such a big reaction. Tsunade cares too much about Hangguang, which can't be considered a bad thing, but for Sarutobi Hiruzen, it's not a good thing. How to face Tsunade is also a question that Sarutobi Hiruzen needs to think about if he really goes to the step of tearing his face. In the next few days, Hangguang will have a sword fight with White Fang, which is going viral among Konoha senior ninjas. Completely spread. Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to control, but was a little helpless, because Tsunade spread the matter. Tsunade was building momentum for Hangguang to let more people know about the duel between Hangguang and White Fang, and Sarutobi Hiruzen personally pressured the field. In this way, if there is an accident in the cold light, it will definitely lead to suspicion. Tsunade couldn't convince Luhan to give up the duel, so she could only do it so that she could put pressure on Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen never imagined that Tsunade, a direct disciple whom he had brought up since childhood, would be one step ahead of the cold light and embark on the path of confrontation with him. The news spread wildly, and before the duel started, suspicion had already appeared. Because everyone knows that White Fang's swordsmanship is superior to Konoha. Although Hangguang is strong, he is not good at swordsmanship. This duel is unfair. It makes people think. Chapter 0569_talk. Sarutobi Hiruzen has never felt so restrained before. He can't stop Tsunade from spreading this matter to the outside world. He can order Tsunade to keep it secret, but Tsunade will definitely not obey the order. Sarutobi Hiruzen can't keep Tsunade locked up. Face. Sarutobi Hiruzen is not afraid to tear his face with anyone. The question is it necessary? Hangguang is the most talented young ninja after the establishment of Konoha village. His talent can even match that of the god of ninja world Senju Hashirama. Such a ninja, if there is no necessary reason, Sarutobi Hiruzen will not give up. Moreover, Sarutobi Hiruzen figured out one thing, and he gave up his mind to stop Tsunade. Speaking of which, the rumors of the duel of swordsmanship spread, although it will lead to suspicion, and even some people with ulterior motives may make a fuss about it, but it is also beneficial to think about it from another aspect. That is to suppress the reputation of cold light. At this time, Hangguang's reputation in Konoha was terrifyingly high, and he became famous in the Battle of Haoshan Rebellion, which made his reputation spread to Anbu and to the ears of many senior ninjas in Konoha, who married Tsunade and made him considered the next generation of Hokage. One of the candidates, with some records in Anbu, is also known by some senior ninjas with special status Akatsuki. Many advanced ninjas are amazed at the rapid rise of Hangguang, while older senior ninjas hope that their descendants can be as good as Hangguang. Cold light in Konoha, as the prestige in the sky. Some people have even started myths about him. This is what Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want to see, so he thought, since the swordsmanship duel has spread, why not add to the flames and release some special news? Sarutobi Hiruzen does exactly that. 2 days until the duel. Konoha village is bustling with 5-story boxes in the tea house. Speaking of which, it's really strange. Although Hangguang is powerful, he is not good at swordsmanship. He will lose this duel. Why bother? There is already a very high risk, and it is not an exaggeration to say that it is a life and death struggle, and Lord White Fang's sword is also known for its speed, in case there is a mistake. Suddenly becoming famous, if you don't control your mentality, you will naturally become arrogant. Kang Jia said, with a sneer on his face, just compared to swordsmanship, he is not necessarily stronger than me, but he even delusionally surpasses Lord White Fang. It's indeed a bit over the top. Tsuruta nodded. There is such a huge disparity in strength, Hokage-sama actually agreed, and I don't know what to think. Odakiri frowned in confusion. There are 5 people in the box, all of them are ninjas in Konoha village who are good at swordsmanship. Their achievements in swordsmanship are extremely terrifying. The oldest, Sarutobi Jinyan, is 46 years old this year and works in the Konoha garrison. Have a chance to meet and chat with ninjas you know well. All four were critically discussing the sword duel, only Hatake Taishuo did not speak, and his face was not very good looking. The 5 people present are all private friends. Because they are all ninjas who are good at swordsmanship, they can be regarded as like-minded, but the age gap is huge. Sarutobi Jinyan is 46 years old, Hatake Taishuo is only in his 20s, and the other 3 everyone is over 30 years old. All 5 are strong swordsmen in Konoha village. Although Hatake Taishuo is the youngest here, he is not the weakest. Sarutobi Jinyan is the strongest, Hatake Taishuo is about the same as Kangjia at 38, Saruta at 35 and Odakir at 34 are the worst. Comparatively speaking, although Hatake Taishuo is not the strongest among the 5 now, he will definitely be in the future, because he is still young and extremely talented. I heard that Han Guang is taking the initiative to fight with Lord White Fang in a sword fight. Kangjia sneered again, does he really think he is an all-rounder? Swordsmanship, he is the captain of Anbu, and Lord White Fang is the captain of Anbu. He just wants to prove that he is stronger than Lord White Fang. It's not a thing. Fight for fame, be ungrateful. Bang. Enough. Hatake Taishuo slammed the teacup on the table and said coldly. Started everyone. What do you mean? Kangjia looked at Hatake Taishuo coldly. You dare to insult Lord Hangguang. If you are heard by Anbu's people, be careful of your head. Hatake Taishuo shouted coldly. Few people know about his apprenticeship with Lu Han. Because of the special status of Anbu's captain, he apprentices. He can't say it to the outside world at will. Outside, he still calls Lu Han Lord Hangguang. My head. Can Anbu kill anyone casually? Kangjia curled his lips. Besides, I'm telling the truth, Hangguang is an ungrateful bastard. You talk again. Hatake Taishuo stood up suddenly. You are just a dog of the Uchiha clan, what are you barking here? Who are you calling a dog? Kangjia also stood up abruptly with a grim expression on his face. Kangjia was an orphan. In the year when Konoha was established, the ninja world was still in turmoil. At the age of 6, Kangjia was almost eaten by a beast. The village grew up, and his strength grew by leaps and bounds in the First Ninja War, during which the Uchiha tribe gave him help. Now he is very close to the Uchiha clan, and can be regarded as a die-hard supporter of the Uchiha clan in Konoha village. Hangguang killed Uchiha Hengshin, so Kangjia was extremely unhappy with Hangguang. Sarutobi Jinyan, who was like a big brother, saw that the situation was not right, so he quickly smoothed things out. Calm down, everyone is friends, just chatting. Humph. Humph. Hatake Taishuo and Kangjia snorted coldly at each other, and they both sat down. Sarutobi Jinyan is an outlier of the Sarutobi clan. The only strong person in the Sarutobi clan who only relies on swordsmanship to dominate. His swordsmanship strength is enough to rank in the top 5 in Konoha. He is also the brother of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. He speaks with great weight. Hangguang will die this time. Kangjia whispered again, as if he didn't say enough. I wanted to defeat Lord White Fang with swordsmanship, but it's a pity Lord Tsunade. Hangguang died in the duel. Lord Tsunade is a widow. Chapter 0570-maintain. Kangjia's words were extremely ugly. In fact, he also knew that Hokage personally pressed the field, and the possibility of an accident was very small. Unless White Fang intended to kill Hangguang, no matter what, Hangguang could not lose his name. The reason why he said that Hangguang was dead anyway, it's just for disgusting people. Sudden, a strong sense of crisis enveloped Kangjia. All the hairs on Kangjia's body stood up, and he tried his best to dodge with a horrified expression. Swish. The cold sword slashed through Kangjia's chair in an instant, but Kangjia dodged to the corner. His back was covered in cold sweat and stared at Hatake Taishuo and roared, "Damn it! Are you crazy?" He didn't expect that Hitachi Taishuo would suddenly strike out his sword. Hitachi Taishuo practiced a quick sword, and at such a close distance, if Kangjia did not dodge quickly, he would have been cut. Any close-range sneak attack by a Hitachi ninja swordsman is extremely terrifying. Whoa! That Hitachi Taishuo slashed suddenly shattered into dozens of pieces and collapsed. What Hitachi Taishuo just slashed was not a single slash at all, but a dozen slashes in a crisscross pattern. In anger, he draws a knife and hurts, but he wants to kill. Kangjia was sweating coldly on his back, almost, if it wasn't for his rich combat experience and strong sixth sense, he might have died. Hitachi Taishuo, do you want to kill me? You dare to kill me? After being afraid, Kangjia angrily drew out his own sword. There were 5 people present. Sarutobi Jingyan swordsmanship was the strongest. Kangjia and Hitachi Taishuo is almost the same. The two have competed dozens of times, and they have not been able to decide the winner. Taishuo, why are you so angry? Don't be impulsive. What's the matter? If there is something I can't talk about, why use the knife? Saruta and Odakiri both stood up. One stopped by Hitachi Taishuo, the other blocked Kangjia, completely separating the two. They were also afraid, if Hitachi Taishuo really killed Kangjia, Konoha police officer, the troops had to arrest him and find him guilty. No one could save him, and Lord Hokage would definitely be furious when he heard that. Konoha senior ninja actually hacked and killed each other without saying a word. This happened, and it was not ordinary. Bang! Sarutobi Jingyan patted the table and said with a black face, "What's the matter, Taishuo? You took the wrong medicine today. If you dare to insult Lord Hengguang again, don't blame me for your hard work." Hitachi Taishuo stared at Kangjia and said coldly, desperately, "Do you think Lao Su is afraid of you?" Kangjia was emotional. "Don't be afraid, don't hide if you have the ability. Is it reasonable for you to sneak attack? Hitachi Taishuo, if you have the ability, you can fight with me in an upright manner. Don't play tricks, don't you always say how talented you are. Don't you take no one's attention. Over the past year, we have in dozens of games, you have never beaten me in a single move, you have never made any progress, your talent has been obsolete, what can you be proud of?" Kangjia said sarcastically, but it was the truth. After Hitachi Taishuo became an elite Jonin, he followed the example of White Fang and challenged a strong swordsman in Konoha village. At the beginning, it was smooth sailing, and he won one after another, and his strength grew rapidly. In the last year, since he began to challenge Kangji, then fell into a bottleneck, and never won the slightest in the hands of Kangjia. Hitachi Taishuo's eyes turned cold, he raised his knife and pointed at Kangjia, and said coldly, "Come on, let's start. Come here." Kangjia raised the knife without any hesitation. "Enough!" Sarutobi shouted angrily and stood up. "Have you two finished? What is this place? The front line is fighting, thousands of ninjas are fighting for Konoha, and you are fighting here." The two fought, otherwise the tea house would be demolished in minutes with their strength. Hitachi Taishuo glanced at Sarutobi Jingyan, then glanced at Kangjia coldly, threw the knife back into the scabbard, turned around and left. He's bored. Today, Sarutobi Jingyan is here, he and Kangji are destined to not fight, so there is no need to stay. Hitachi Taishuo just went out, but heard Kangjia's sneering voice. "What's the relationship between Hongguang and you? You protect him like this. Speaking of which, Lord White Fang is your clan brother, and he has been pointing you. You don't even look at White Fang. My lord, instead, you are defending Hengguang everywhere. Your conscience was eaten by a dog. Hengguang is delusional to beat Master White Fang with swordsmanship. He is courting death by himself, am I wrong?" Quote. Hitachi Taishuo left, but did not return to the house to argue with Kangjia. He was too lazy to explain. Hitachi Taishuo is very aware of the relationship between Luhan and White Fang. The duel between the two is definitely not as rumored. Hitachi Taishuo knew from Tsunade that this duel was arranged by Lord Hokage. As for why it would be rumored that it was Hongguang who challenged White Fang, and Hitachi Taishuo did not know. In Hatake Taishuo's heart, both of them are very important. He is not aiming for anyone, but he just can't accept someone insulting Han Guang. Speaking of which, Hatake Taishuo is actually not optimistic that Lu Han can outperform White Fang in a duel of swordsmanship. In fact, Hatake Taishuo already had the urge to tell Tsunade what Kang Jia said. He dared to say how Tsunade became a widow. Tsunade knew that he had to tear him up alive. But Hatake Taishuo suppressed this urge. He was not such a villain, and he wanted to defeat Kang Jia with the knife in his hand, not only for Lu Han, but also for breaking through the bottleneck and unraveling the knot. Hokage building, Hokage office. Humph, you are finally willing to come to see me. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a bad expression, do you want me to cancel this duel? Tsunade had been seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen in the future before, and it had been 5 days since the news had spread and she had come. I want to be able to watch the fight. Tsunade said blankly, knowing that there was no way she could convince Sarutobi Hiruzen to cancel the duel. Watching the game, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately understood Tsunade's thoughts. Tsunade was obviously still worried that there would be an accident in the cold light, so he wanted to be there to watch. Okay, now that the news has spread, it's better to have a few more people watching the battle. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, and after a second thought, he said again, well, the ninjas in the village who are good at swordsmanship are very impressed by the process of this duel. If you are interested, I will choose some and watch the game together. Quote. Chapter 0571_Duel Day. Sarutobi Hiruzen has bad intentions again. The duel was originally planned to be held in secret, but now it has become semi-open. This sword duel will undoubtedly be won by White Fang. Sarutobi Hiruzen intends to let more people watch the fight, because he wants more people saw Lu Han lost to White Fang, and they saw how Han Guang lost. After that, as long as Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't stop it, they would definitely spread word of mouth and spread the process of the duel to Konoha. In this case, it would be a blow to Han Guang's reputation. Will be more thorough. 2 days later. Time has entered Konoha's 32 February, and the duel is scheduled for 10 o'clock in the morning. Early in the morning. Lu Han woke up from the house, bowed his head and kissed Tsunade's forehead lightly in his arms. Tsunade also woke up. The two got up to wash together. Tsunade waited for Lu Han to get dressed, and she didn't say a word from beginning to end. Her face is not very good. She has been angry with Lu Han these days. Tsunade was buttoning Lu Han. Lu Han held Tsunade's hand and said with a smile, are you still angry? Not angry, Tsunade said sternly, and she almost wrote, I'm angry, on her face. Don't worry, what you are worried about will never happen. Lu Han assured, don't always think about it, the situation is not as bad as you think. Tsunade said, even if there is no accident, it would be very shameful for you to lose to White Fang in public. You are obviously not good at swordsmanship, so you have to compare swordsmanship with White Fang, who is the first in Konoha's swordsmanship. Now everyone says you are too arrogant. Quote. Lu Han smiled, you also think I will definitely lose to White Fang? Tsunade said, I don't think so, but everyone thinks so. It's the truth. If you talk about ninjutsu, White Fang is definitely not as good as you. Why do you bother? Okay. Lu Han hugged Tsunade in his arms and comforted him. This matter was arranged by Lord Hokage, and White Fang and I had already agreed to have a battle of swordsmanship, so I didn't hesitate. It makes sense. After a pause, Lu Han sighed again, win or lose, you can only know by comparing. At 9 o'clock in the morning, in the forest behind Konoha village, a very wide open space. Originally, the duel site was located in the Anbu station, but because the news spread, Sarutobi Hiruzen arranged for more people to watch the battle, and it was inconvenient to be in the Anbu station, so the duel location was moved to the back mountain forest. Lu Han and Tsunade arrived at the scene. There were more than a dozen people in the open space. All of them were strong swordsmen in Konoha village. There were more than 10,000 ninjas in Konoha village. The body repair sword ninja is even more pitiful. and the one who can be called the strong must at least be the elite Jonin, and the few are outrageous. Jonin with swordsmanship is their main fighting ability. Not many are young, most of them are in their 30s and 40s. White Fang Hatake Sakumo has arrived, and Hatake Taishuo is also there. Seeing Lu Han dressed as Captain Anbu and the charming Tsunade coming together, Hatake Taishuo quickly approached and greeted in a low voice, "Teacher, mistress. Master Hokage hasn't come yet?" Lu Han asked. "I guess it will take a while," Hatake Taishuo said. Everyone in the room came early. This sword fight was attended by Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen himself, and Lord Hokage came in person. Everyone else can't come later than Hokage, right? All came early. Come on. White Fang also came over. Humph. Lu Han didn't say anything, but he heard Tsunade snort coldly, disliking Hatake Sakumo's appearance. Hatake Sakumo gave Lu Han a wry smile. "This misunderstanding. It seems a bit deep." Lu Han and Hatake Sakumo have met several times in the past few days. Hatake Sakumo is very clear about why Tsunade is against the duel. The dozen or so strong swordsmen who were present saw White Fang and Han Guang come together, and some people were talking and laughing. A duel is a matter of life and death. Why does it seem to be harmonious? Sarutobi Jingyan stood with a few familiar ninjas, frowned and said, "The rumors are really unbelievable. Captain Hangguang and Lord White Fang have worked together in Anbu after all, and the relationship is extraordinary. If Captain Hangguang really wants to stepping on Lord White Fang to gain fame, it is impossible for Lord White Fang not to understand, and the two of them cannot get along like this." Quote. "Not really," Kang Jia sneered and retorted, keeping his voice very low. "Han Guang and Lord White Fang are both deeply urbanites. They can sit in such a high position. Their temperament is naturally extraordinary, and on the surface they are harmonious. Kindness, but it's not easy to tear your face in front of everyone. After all, they are all powerful people, and they are all right-hand men of Lord Hokage." Quote. "Kang Jia, you always think so maliciously. Do you have any opinion on Captain Han Guang?" Sarutobi Jing Yinhang glanced at Kang Jia. "Am I malicious?" Kang Jia frowned. "Didn't you see?" "See what?" "Master Tsunade's face." "This." Sarutobi Jingyan looked at it carefully, but was speechless. Tsunade's face was extremely bad, and that face was clearly shown to White Fang, so you could tell. It's a pity for such an excellent person to marry such an arrogant guy as Han Guang. Kang Jia whispered again. He glanced at Hatake Taishuo's back again, and left suddenly, walking quickly towards Lu Han and White Fang et al. "Master White Fang." Kang Jia walked behind White Fang and said respectfully. "Huh." Hatake Sakumo turned around. Kang Jia of course knew him. He could even be said to know him well, and smiled lightly. "Is something wrong?" "Lord White Fang, I recently encountered some difficulties in swordsmanship. I wonder if Mrs. White Fang can give me some advice." Kang Jia was very respectful. "Oh, what a problem." "This. I can't tell. Dare to ask Lord White Fang to make 2 moves with me." As soon as Kang Jia said this, everyone around was shocked. Today's good show has not yet begun. Is Kang Jia challenging White Fang first? I have to say that Kang Jia's sword skills are indeed very strong, but the gap with White Fang is also huge. Under White Fang's hands, I'm afraid. He can't make 10 moves, right? Okay. White Fang thought for a while and then nodded. If he was idle, he was idle. Kang Jia was not an unknown person, he was a Konoha ninja. Lu Han frowned and looked at Kang Jia with doubts in his eyes. This guy is Yuhi in Lu Han's eyes. Chapter 0572_No way. Konoha Independent Mission Ninja. Level 50 White Silver Boss, Kang Ji. Super Elite Jonin Yuhi name. In Konoha, although Kang Jia's strength is almost the same as Hatake Taishuo's, his name is not as good as Hatake Taishuo's. It can even be said that it is not a generation. Hatake Taishuo's name as a super genius of swordsmanship is not comparable to him. However, although Kang Jia was not famous enough, Lu Han thought of the information about him immediately. There are only so many super elite Jonin in Konoha. As captain of Anbu, Luhan has the ability to remember all the super elite Jonin. Originated from the blood feud between the Uchiha tribe and themselves. However, the Yuhi name is not scary, it is the Yuhi name with rank. Yuhi's name with a subjective sense of harm, that is to say, as long as there is a chance, King Jia will definitely attack Luhan. This is the reason for Luhan's doubts. Where does such a big hatred come from? Even in the Yuhi name of the Uchiha clan, it is very rare to show it with a rank. Of the dozen or so people present, King Jia was the only Yuhi name. Hatake Sakumo agrees to have 2 moves with Kenji. The 2 walked into the middle of the open space, and the others gathered around. Lord Jingyan, what do you think King Jia can do? Otaki asked in a low voice, tilting his head slightly. 8 strokes to 10 strokes. Sarutobi Jingyan held his chin and said, even if I am, under the hands of Lord White Fang, I can't hold up to 20 strokes, so 10 strokes are about the same. Even if he performs exceptionally well, 15 strokes is the limit. Quote. Master White Fang is really powerful. Otagiri sighed. Open Space Center. Lord White Fang. King Jia took out his tachi, and his aura rose quickly and shouted, please do your best. I know you are Konoha's strongest knives ninja, and I am not your opponent, but since we are learning from each other, I hope that Mr. White Fang will not release water, and I also hope that I can gain insights and make breakthroughs in this discussion. Quote. King Jia is also in a bottleneck period, which has been going on for several years. He hopes that White Fang can give him enough pressure, so that the possibility of him growing again will be greater. Okay. White Fang nodded. Offended. King Jia shouted loudly, his feet shook, the ground cracked directly, he rushed towards Hatake Sakumo like an arrow, the whole person's momentum had risen to ultimate, and approaching White Fang, the long sword was like a thunder, fiercely chopped down. Seeing that White Fang's figure was vacant, he drew the knife instantly, and with a flick of his arm, the short knife blocked King Jia's waving sword, and then he moved his feet, and the tip of the knife was raised. Too fast. Only Luhan and Tsunade caught White Fang's movements. Luhan could see it clearly, while Tsunade could only catch a vague shadow. The atmosphere solidified. King Xie couldn't move, his face was horrified, and he still maintained the posture of swinging the knife, but the whole person seemed to be frozen. White Fang was standing beside him, holding a short knife, the tip of which was already on King Ji's throat. 1 move. King Ji is defeated. Ninjas who said that King Jia could do 10 and 8 moves under White Fang's hands all had their jaws dropped. Their perception is that Konoha is not a ninja village that dominates with swordsmanship. Swordsmanship is not prosperous here, and White Fang has always been breaking the upper limit of Konoha's strongest swordsmanship. My God, Lord White Fang is so powerful. Master White Fang's strength has become stronger again. The last time I asked Master White Fang to teach swordsmanship, Master White Fang was not so strong. He has grown up again. He is indeed the strongest swordsman genius in Konoha's history. It's really scary. Quote. White Fang put away the short knife, patted King Jia on the shoulder again, and said nothing. King Jia also put away his knife and looked at the back of White Fang leaving, his eyes were a little frantic. He lost to White Fang in 1 move, but he didn't feel humiliated because of it, not because he was weak, but because White Fang was too strong. It is not shameful to lose to White Fang. King Jia is suddenly jealous of Hatake Tai Shuo. Hatake Tai Shuo can often ask White Fang for guidance, and even got the true biography of White Fang, but King Jia did not have such a good life. In swordsmanship, King Jia was rarely instructed by a strong man like White Fang. After all, there was only one White Fang. If when I was a teenager, I could be instructed by a swordsman ninja as powerful as Lord White Fang, then my strength would definitely not only be what I am now, maybe I would be recognized as a super genius before the age of 30. Sword ninja, King Jia thought, and couldn't help but look at Hatake Tai Shuo, the jealousy in his eyes even more intense. Call, 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 call. To the north of the clearing, several figures appeared one after another out of thin air. The one standing at the front was Sarutobi Hiruzen, followed by a few ninjas, 4 men and 1 woman, each of which was extremely powerful, and even just a hint of it was enough to make ordinary Jonin feel frightened. Come on. Luhan suddenly regained his energy and swept his eyes quickly. Konoha Sarutobi clan elder, Sarutobi Thelma. The head of the Konoha Hitaki clan, Hitaki Shingen. Guardian of the forbidden land of Konoha, turning sleeping feather. The former head of the Konoha Shimura clan, Shimura Wujin. Konoha Hyuga family branch head teacher, Hyuga Skyfire. 5 ninjas, the youngest seems to be nearly 60 years old, and the eldest Shimura Wujin may be 70 years old. They are all strong men of the older generation of Konoha. They have all been in the first ninja world during the war. They made brilliant achievements for Konoha, but now, they are all old. Their strength is weakened due to aging, but they are still very scary existences. It is worth mentioning that Hitaki Shingen, he is Hitaki Sakumo's cousin, was Konoha's first swordsman strong, 2 years ago lost to the 21-year-old Hitaki Sakumo. In the beginning, Sarutobi Hiruzen asked Han Guang and White Fang to fight with all their abilities. In order to prevent accidents, they decided to find more people to come to the battlefield. Later, it was changed to a sword fight. In fact, more people were no longer needed to come to the battlefield. But Sarutobi Hiruzen still found someone. But there is another reason. Since I want to use this sword fighting duel to suppress Han Guang's reputation, why not be more thorough and bring the older generation to see it, so that as long as Han Guang loses the sword fighting, the impact will be even greater. Chapter 0573_Luhan vs Hitaki Sakumo. Seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen and others appear, everyone else walked over quickly and greeted them respectfully. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up at the sky. It was not yet 10 o'clock in the morning, but since everyone had already arrived, there was no need to wait, and it was not an official event. Let's get started. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Luhan and Hitaki Sakumo again and said, "It's all right, right?" Both said they were ready. Yeah, Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. Suddenly, he saw a pit on the field, which King Jia had just stepped out and stepped on when he was fighting with White Fang. This place, Sarutobi Hiruzen, was cleaned up yesterday, and the surrounding area was blocked by Anbu ninjas. It is impossible for anyone without Sarutobi Hiruzen's permission to come here. Sarutobi Hiruzen asked, "Who was here just now?" "Yes, it's me, Lord Hokage." King Jia was a little nervous, bowing his head in a very respectful manner. "Just now I asked Lord White Fang for some advice on swordsmanship, and I tried it with Lord White Fang." Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned slightly. Kenji. He naturally knew it, but he was not impressed. There are too many Konoha ninjas. If he is a genius, even if his strength is not high, Sarutobi Hiruzen will remember it very clearly. Most don't pay much attention. In fact, Kenji has a good talent, but this guy doesn't have many eye-catching records, so Sarutobi Hiruzen is not impressed. Competition and guidance. Before Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke, Hitaki Shingen spoke first. He naturally knew Kenji, and in the circle of swordsman ninjas, they were very familiar with each other. What was the result? Master Wei Xingyan, I was defeated by Master White Fang, and I lost with 1 move. King Jia said. 1 move. Hitaki Shingen was surprised, smiled, and looked at Hitaki Sakumo with more and more relief. Sakumo, the strength has become stronger again. Hitaki Sakumo is worthy of being our first knives ninja in Konoha. Hyuga Tianwo also said. White Fang, it really lives up to its reputation. Shimura Wujin also smiled and nodded to White Fang, full of closeness. To be said that even an older generation of powerhouses who are arrogant and have a detached status would want to make good friends with a monstrous task like Hitaki Sakumo. After they finished talking about White Fang, they looked at Luhan with a little more scrutiny in their eyes. They had heard a lot of Han Guang's record, but those records had little effect on the result of today's duel, because today's battle was about knives. Technique. Sarutobi Hiruzen also glanced at Luhan and said, "Get ready." Everyone else scattered around. Sarutobi Hiruzen stood with the older generation, and the dozen or so sword ninjas scattered around in twos and threes. Tsunade stood not far from Sarutobi Hiruzen, expressionless. Hitaki Tai Shuo stood behind her. In the middle of the open space, Luhan and Hitaki Sakumo stood opposite each other. Both of them cautiously held their weapons in their hands first. Luhan was holding the Sword of Astonishment, while White Fang was naturally using a short knife. In terms of weapons, it cannot be said which of the two has the advantage. You said, Lord Hangguang, how many tricks can you use in Lord White Fang's hands? Odaki asked in a low voice. Master Hangguang is not good at swordsmanship. The growth of swordsmanship depends on continuous training and self-breakthrough. Sarutobi Jingyan analyzed. Master White Fang can achieve today's achievements, and it is also the 16th or 17th year of practicing swordsmanship. The result is coming, so. So what? Say it quickly. Oda asked impatiently. 10 moves, no more. Kang Jia interjected. Sarutobi Jingyan didn't speak anymore, obviously tacitly acquiesced to Kang Jia's words. He also has his own algorithm in his heart. Before, he thought he could do 20 moves under White Fang, but after watching the test between White Fang and Kang Jia, he knew White Fang's strength has grown extremely high. He thinks that he may not be able to make 10 moves under White Fang's hands, and Hangguang should not be stronger than himself. Konoha's top 5 top swordsman ninjas, except for Hitaki Sakumo, who ranked first, is only 23 years old, and everyone else is over 40 years old, and Sarutobi Jingyan is one of them. If Hangguang can make more than 10 moves under White Fang, his swordsmanship will be ranked in the top 5 of Konoha, which is impossible. Even White Fang can be said to be a half-body jutsu ninja. The top 5 are all specialized in taijutsu. Sarutobi Jingyan is an outlier of the Sarutobi clan, and has also practiced taijutsu. Why is Hangguang? It is incredible that a ninja swordsman who is good at ninjutsu ranks in the top 5 of Konoha. Really powerful swordsmanship, but within the scope of physical skills. No matter what the people around them say or think, the atmosphere between Luhan and White Fang is not tense. He has adjusted his form. Please, Luhan said hoarsely. Call. White Fang disappeared on the spot. He took the first step, as fast as lightning, and like a ghost, quickly approaching Luhan, but silently, without even bringing the breeze. This is his true strength. Kang Jia looked horrified. It wasn't until this moment that he realized that White Fang just didn't show all his strength at all, and it's all the same whether he can use it or not. Clang! Snapped. Luhan stood firmly on the spot, quickly returned the knife, and by the way resisted the 2 consecutive swords from White Fang, then took a step back and used the knife to block the front, under the ribs, the waist, and the back, sweeping, pulling, cutting, and breaking. Luhan was shrouded in hazy blade shadows. He was defending and White Fang was attacking. Every time he moved, he would bring out more than a dozen blade shadows. Because the blade was too fast, there was no one present. People can accurately capture the trajectory of every blade of White Fang, except for the cold light that is very close to White Fang. In just half a minute, the two fought hundreds of moves. Sarutobi Jingyan, Kang Jia and the others looked dumbfounded, their jaws dropped in shock, and they were speechless. The faces of the older generation around Sarutobi Hiruzen also changed. His swordsmanship is probably not weaker than mine. Hitaki Shinyansha said cautiously. What? More than a dozen swordsman ninjas who were watching heard Hitaki Shinyan's words, and there was an uproar. Hitaki Shinyan, Konoha's second strongest swordsman ninja. Chapter 0574_Cold Light is good at using a sickle. Hitaki Shinyan was once Konoha's first swordsman ninja. In layman's terms, he was Konoha's first swordsman. His swordsmanship was completely inherited from Hitaki's ancestors. Although there was no innovation and breakthrough, it was still strong and terrifying. At that time, Konoha ranked the top 5. Sword ninja, the last 4 together. It is difficult for him to beat 1.5 moves in his hands. It was not until 2 years ago that Hitaki Sakumo, who was the captain of Anbu at the time, could no longer find an opponent. He challenged his cousin, Hotake Shingen, the patriarch of the Hotake clan. After 3 consecutive battles, he defeated Hotake Shingen by half a move. Hotake Shingen actually said that the cold light swordsmanship is not weaker than himself. This is an extremely terrifying thing. A top powerhouse who has been obsessed with swordsmanship for 50 years, even gave such an evaluation to a 14-year-old boy ninja. It is even more shocking than Han Guang's previous record. Swordsmanship is second, and overall strength can't be ranked second. Most of the dozen or so sword ninjas present did not know Han Guang's true identity and age, but the older generation knew that their identities were detached, and they all made great contributions to Konoha village. They were the ones who fought in the first ninja war. It took a series of battles to make Konoha what it is today. Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally wouldn't lie to them. I didn't expect that in just a few short years, such a monster-like character would appear in the village. Xuanyu, who was already an old woman, sighed, looking at Lu Han with a strange look in his eyes. At present, Xuanyu is the highest status of the Xuanyu clan. Kaharu Udatane has to call her aunt. During the first ninja war, Xuanyu's husband died in the battle, so she was disheartened. After the war, Shihi lived in seclusion and guarded the forbidden area for Konoha, and only came out from the forbidden area every few years. It's really amazing. Sarutobi Thelma also nodded. It is indeed rare to be able to achieve this kind of achievement at this age and have this kind of strength. Shimura Wu Jin's voice was unusually old. As the oldest person present, although his strength declined the most, his eyes were the most vicious. That's right. Hotake Shingen also nodded and gave a very professional evaluation. Hangguang's swordsmanship is indeed beyond my expectations. If I give him a few years, as long as Sakumo stagnates, he will definitely be surpassed by Han Guang. But now, after all, there is still a gap. Sakumo was able to beat me 2 years ago. After experiencing the big defeat half a year ago, he broke through again, and his strength has improved by leaps and bounds. Han Guang is still not his opponent. Quote. In the open space, the 2 people who were fighting were attacking more and more frequently, but their strength was clear at a glance. White Fang was completely pressing Han Guang to fight, only attacking but not defending, or in other words, he did not need to defend, and Han Guang had no chance to counterattack at all. Always resist passively. Unbelievable. What kind of monster is that? No wonder I dare to challenge Lord White Fang. I never expected that Lord Hangguang has such a high achievement in swordsmanship. More than a dozen extremely shocked swordsmanship ninjas came back to their senses, and they were amazed one after another. Before, they thought that Hangguang was overkill, but now they all put away their contempt. Although Hangguang is still not as good as White Fang, it is also the existence they look up to. Humph. Kang Jia snorted coldly. Even so, the victory belongs to Lord White Fang. If you defend for a long time, you will lose. He won't last long. The words are harsh, but true. Sarutobi Jingyan looked at Kang Jia and said nothing. On the other side of the clearing, Tsunade frowned deeply. Since the duel between the two, she has been like this, her eyes flashing with puzzlement. As far as she knew, the weapon Lu Han was good at was not the sword he used at this time, but a sickle with excellent quality and special effects. Lu Han also told her that the sword was called Kurigakure. The blade was obtained by accident during the mission in the Land of Water. Tai Shuo, what kind of knife did he use when he taught you swordsmanship? Tsunade suddenly tilted his head and asked. Go back to the teacher. Hotake Tai Shuo was very respectful. When the teacher taught me the sword technique, the sword was used. Strange. Tsunade frowned deeper. Hotake Tai Shuo looked up at Tsunade. His eyes were puzzled, but he didn't know what was wrong. In fact, even he didn't know that Lu Han was good at using a sickle. When he was out on a mission, whenever there was a battle of life and death, Lu Han used the blade of Kurigakure to fight people. Mistress. Teacher. Tai Shuo. He worshipped Han Guang as his teacher. Was a screeching sound on the other side. They were all masters, and Tsunade didn't lower his voice. Naturally, they could clearly hear the conversation between Tsunade and Hatake Taishuo. Sarutobi Jinyan's face was stunned, and suddenly, it was no wonder that Hatake Taishuo maintained the cold light that day. It turned out that he had already apprenticed. If Hatake Taishuo had told this before, Sarutobi Jinyan would definitely not understand. Hatake Taishuo had followed White Fang to practice swordsmanship, and then he was a teacher who was much weaker than Han Guang, and no one would have understood it. It's different now. Although Han Guang's sword skills are not as good as White Fang's, he can definitely be Hatake Taishuo's master. If Hatake Taishuo can learn Han Guang's sword skills, he will definitely break the bottleneck and increase his strength several times. Good luck, guy. King Jia looked at Hatake Taishuo, his eyes filled with extreme color. He has always been extremely Hatake Taishuo's origin and cultivation environment. According to Han Guang's guidance, even a ninja with ordinary talent can at least become a swordsman Jonin, not to mention that Hatake Taishuo is a swordsman genius. Compared with talent, Hatake Taishuo is no worse than the current Hatake Patriarch Xingyan, but he is still young. Boom, 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 boom. The open space, Lu Han connected with Hatake Sakumo for hundreds of knives, and took another step back. The open space was full of his retreating footprints, and he was indeed being pressed and beaten all the time. Sure enough, although the Taidao is the most standard sword, even if it is replaced by a short sword or even a dagger, it can perform similar swordsmanship, but it is not what I am good at. Lu Han thought. His left hand suddenly grabbed forward, from the void pulled out a scythe. Blade of Kurigakure. The situation suddenly reversed. Lu Han swung the knife with his left hand 3 times in a row, forcing Hatake Sakumo to take a step back. Chapter 0575_win or lose. The reason why Lu Han chose to fight with White Fang with the standard-shaped Jinghong blade is mainly to correct his habit of using a knife. He is good at sickle, but the shape of the sickle is too unique and has no commonality. Just like Hanzo, he is also good at scythes, or a scythe with a chain axe. Assuming that he can use 100% of his strength with a scythe, if he replaces his scythe with a tachi, then he will be able to exert 70% to 80% of his strength at most. Because the shape of the knife is different, the usage is different. But the tachi is different, the standard shape, the longer is the saber, the shorter is the short knife, and the shorter is the dagger. The shape is the same, but the length is different. A ninja who is good at using the Dao can use the Dao to play 100% of his strength, then even if you change to a longer or shorter knife, it will at least be able to exert more than 95% of the strength. That's why Lu Han wanted to correct his habit of using swords. The king of the sword is more advantageous than the king of the sickle. However, not using the Kurigakure's blade right now, he didn't want to lose the duel yet. However, when Lu Han took out the scythe in his left hand, the sword in his right hand disappeared, and then he clenched the scythe in both hands, turning the situation around with a few knives in a row, turning defense into offense. Inch long and 1 inch strong, the blade of Kurigakure can be much larger than the blade of Jinghong. White Fang was taken aback. Lu Han's attack suddenly became stronger and more bizarre, and suddenly disrupted his attack rhythm. During the stormy scythe attack, he took 7 steps in a row to stabilize his body, and his figure flickered. The speed exploded to ultimate, and he took a step through the gap of the sickle and the shadow of the scythe, and the short knife slashed horizontally towards Lu Han's throat. Lu Han had to take a step back and connect with White Fang for a few more knives, only then did he find an opportunity to counterattack. The successive changes made everyone react half a beat slower. Hangguang, Lord Hangguang, why did he suddenly become stronger? He is good at using the scythe, and the knife he took out later is what he is good at. It must be like this. It's too fast. Lord White Fang has some reservations just now, and he has only shown his full strength now. I can't see clearly. Impossible, it's impossible. Hatake Xingyan was also shocked, and it took a while for him to come back to his senses, saying, Hangguang. He is truly a peerless talent. If he was born in the Hatake family, maybe. He didn't say anything, but the meaning was very clear. if Hengguang was born among the Hokage clan, their sword skills may have surpassed White Fang. Actually, it doesn't count. All of Lu Han's abilities and talents are classified as geniuses, not super geniuses, let alone evil spirits. Only talent, he is not as good as Hokage Tai Shuo. All he can be so powerful now, because he is a subversive, he has used a lot of C-level and B-level physical scrolls before, he can't count how many he has used. In short, the foundation is very solid, but this not enough to make him comparable to White Fang. His knife skills have only recently advanced by leaps and bounds, and it was the faceless man who trained him. Although White Fang's talent is enchanting, he spent most of the time on the road of growth practicing swordsmanship and practicing alone. The battle between Lu Han and the faceless man was a pure life and death fight. Many times Lu Han was seriously injured. If it wasn't for his special physique, he would have died long ago. Lu Han and the faceless man have already fought for no less than 1,000 times, and White Fang has never had the opportunity to hone himself in his life, because there are not 1,000 people in the entire ninja world who surpass him in swordsmanship who can fight him to the death. The other older generation did not speak, and watched the swordsmanship duel full of vicissitudes. Before, they thought that White Fang would win, and they didn't take it too seriously. Now it's different. The winner, not necessarily White Fang. Not good. Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart sank, his eyes changed again and again. He never thought that Hongguang's swordsmanship would be so strong. He arranged this duel. One is to beat Hongguang and let Hongguang understand himself. The positioning of Konoha is to suppress Hengguang's reputation, so he invited so many people. And all of this is based on the condition that Hongguang loses the duel. Now, even if Hongguang loses, the swordsmanship he is showing now is enough to increase his prestige, and suppressing prestige has turned into increasing prestige. Moreover, Hongguang seems to have a chance to win. From less than 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. Lu Han and White Fang had already fought for more than 5 knife duels that disappeared. Both of them had 3 wounds that were neither shallow nor deep, but the winner had not yet been determined. Lu Han had already taken out all of his own swordsmanship strength, so is White Fang. Lu Han is good at strength and skill attack, and the shape of the sickle is unique and varied. White Fang is good at speed, that is, fast. Incredibly fast. Although it is only fast but not broken, White Fang's speed has not yet reached the level of crushing Lu Han, so he has never been able to beat Lu Han with 1.5 moves, and Lu Han can't defeat White Fang, and the two are deadlocked. The duel seems to have turned into a competition of will and endurance. Level 60 White Silver Boss. He is only 23 years old. He is growing and surpassing Sarutobi Hiruzen in the future. It is possible. Unfortunately, he died too early in the original book. With White Fang naturally temporarily changed to Yuhi's name, a level 60 White Silver Boss, which is comparable to the original Boiling Rain. White Fang was not so strong a year ago, and Lu Han judged his strength as a 55 Diamond Boss before. Barely reach level 60. The reason why White Fang is so strong now is all thanks to Hanzo. He was seriously injured by Hanzo and was dying. Strength. 4 p.m. Enough. It's time to stop, Sarutobi Hiruzen said suddenly. Shadows suddenly stopped fighting, and at the same time, they burst back and stopped after a distance of more than 20 meters. Your skills in swordsmanship are very similar. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued, it's hard to tell if you are fighting. You are both Konoha's elites, and your consumption is already huge. It's something I don't want to see that seriously injure the opponent. This duel is considered a draw. Draw. 0576 Danzo returns __. Sarutobi Hiruzen has already made a decision, so there is no need for Lu Han and White Fang to fight anymore. We'll fight later. White Fang looked at Lu Han, his eyes still burning with a strong will to fight. He seemed to have regained the feeling of back then and met someone who could not be surpassed. Okay. Lu Han nodded and smiled. After this duel, the relationship between the two seemed to be closer, and there was a sense of mutual sympathy. White Fang thought of the predicament Lu Han was encountering now, which was related to Mangekyo Sharingan, while Lu Han thought of White Fang in the original book. The encounter, probably around 40 years ago in Konoha, caused White Fang to commit suicide. "It's getting late, it's all gone," Sarutobi Hiruzen said again. Before leaving, he gave Lu Han a deep look. He had gotten the best possible result for White Fang. That's right, he won the tie in this duel. He already knew that the more the two fought, the more likely White Fang would lose, which he didn't want to see. The reason why he thinks this way is because he understands Han Guang. This duel is said to be a sword technique, and other abilities cannot be suppressed, but many special abilities cannot be suppressed, such as Han Guang is not afraid of being injured. Cold Light Master Pervert's self-healing ability, when he was in the Back Mountain Rebellion, he was pierced by the heart without dying. But White Fang has no such ability. Both of them have already been injured in this duel. Although they are still slightly injured, as long as the duel continues, the injuries of the two of them will inevitably worsen and the blood will be more. Chong, Hengguang won the final victory, it is not an accident. Sarutobi Hiruzen prevented this from happening. Draw. It was the best result he could get. Come to think of it, after today, the name of the unworldly genius of cold light swordsmanship will soon spread to Konoha, and his fame will be further improved. Sarutobi Hiruzen is stealing chickens and can't turn a rice ball, but he is powerless to stop all this, and ordered all the people present. People don't talk about what happened today. Sarutobi Hiruzen was good enough to do it, but he couldn't stop Tsunade. Sarutobi Hiruzen and the older generation left first, and the others did not leave immediately. Tsunade wanted to heal Lu Han's injury, but Lu Han waved his hand to signal no need. Tsunade also knew that Lu Han's vitality was extremely strong, so he ignored it. Although his face was stinky, he still treated White Fang's injury. While Tsunade healed White Fang, the other swordsman ninjas surrounded Lu Han and complimented him for a while. Master Hengguang is worthy of being Captain Anbu, the ninja most trusted by Master Hokage. I didn't know about Master Hengguang's swordsmanship before, and I said some disrespectful words. I'm really ashamed. The talent of the world, Master Xingyan's evaluation is really appropriate. Lord Hengguang, I have some doubts about swordsmanship recently, and I hope Lord Hengguang will solve it. High-minded, arrogant and powerful Konoha swordsmanship ninjas are extremely respectful to Lu Han. Several ninjas who are extremely obsessed with swordsmanship have the courage to ask Lu Han for advice. Although Lu Han is the captain of Anbu, he should remain mysterious and cold. However, he was already determined to compete for the position of Hokage, and if he wanted to establish his prestige, it was still necessary to give him some guidance. Soon, Tsunade healed White Fang's wounds. White Fang walked to Lu Han's side, and a ninja immediately asked him for advice. Naturally, White Fang would not refuse. Lu Han originally wanted to give some pointers, and when White Fang recovered, he left with Tsunade, but seeing that White Fang also began to give pointers, he simply began to refuse. At first, several ninjas dared to ask Lu Han for advice, but they didn't expect Lu Han to speak well and give pointers well, so almost everyone began to ask them for advice. There is only one exception. That is King Solution. He didn't dare to go over because Hitachi Taishuo was by Lu Han's side. He was afraid now. He went over by himself. If Hitachi Taishuo said what he said that time, such as Han Guang's ungratefulness, Tsunade's widow, etc., then he would it's over. Perhaps, Han Guang will maintain his identity and ignore him. But if Tsunade didn't bleed him, she wouldn't be Tsunade. Damn it, you are so lucky to be taught by two Konoha swordsmen. King Jia looked at Hitachi Taishuo with jealous eyes. Hitachi Taishuo seemed to notice King Jia's gaze, and when he looked back, he gave King Jia a mocking look. Damn, King Jia scolded inwardly, and left the back mountain first. It was getting dark. Before sunset on the west mountain, the ninjas of swordsmanship stopped asking for advice. Very interesting. After thanking Lu Han and White Fang, they left the back mountain, and Hitachi Taishuo was forcibly dragged away by them. Obviously, They were apprentices to Hokage Teishuo. The cold light thing is very interesting. White Fang and Lu Han agreed to have a chance to fight again, so they left. In the end, only Lu Han and Tsunade were left in the back mountain. Hate, hate, hate. It's obviously not worse than White Fang, which makes me so worried. Hate, hate. Tsunade turned into a little woman, and a burst of pink fists smashed Lu Han's body. If anyone else saw Tsunade, they would also with such an appearance. His eyes will definitely fall out in shock. I already said that if you have confidence in me, I don't necessarily lose. Why do you hate it? Lu Han smiled and hugged Tsunade in his arms. It's just annoying. You don't make sense like that. You are unreasonable. Tsunade took off Lu Han's mask and pinched Lu Han's face into a strange shape. Lu Han lowered his head and kissed Tsunade's lips. Tsunade suddenly softened. ... Time flies. 2 months later. 32 years of Konoha, early April. Anbu's office. Lu Han spent the rest of his time practicing swordsmanship. He really wanted to defeat White Fang. In the battle 2 months ago, it was a draw, but there was a stir among Konoha's senior ninjas. Lu Han understood that as long as he defeated White Fang, his reputation would be further enhanced. The higher his reputation, the less Sarutobi Hiruzen dared to touch him. After all, Lu Han had never done anything to hurt Konoha. Noon today. Away from Konoha village for more than 2 months, finally returned. He completed the task given to him by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Although he lost a bit of manpower, he brought back 5 Kagaya clan ninjas with Shikatsumiku, Dead Bone Pulse, from the Land of Water. Sarutobi Hiruzen informed Lu Han immediately. Chapter-561-580 Station. Anbu Station, the deepest training ground. The ceiling formation had already been activated. This extremely huge training ground was under the control of Lu Han. The entrance was closed, and no one could see the situation inside the training ground. Of light and shadow, and attacked Lu Han frantically with a knife. Except for his face, his appearance was exactly the same as Lu Han, but the color was different. This is a white-silver boss set to level 60, and most of his abilities are limited. The Faceless Man. The day before he married Tsunade, Lu Han had the strength to defeat the level 60 bronze boss swordsman Faceless. After that, he naturally made adjustments to the Faceless. However, until now, he has not defeated level 60 white silver boss Faceless. Simply pervert. In fact, if the Faceless Man had maintained the comprehensive strength of 3 months ago, Lu Han would have been able to defeat him at this time, but the problem is that as Lu Han grew up, the Faceless Man would also grow. The same sword skills as White Fang, the Faceless Man replicates his strength. Therefore, Lu Han has grown up, but to the Faceless Man, whether he grows up or not, the threat to him is the same. Lu Han must complete transcendence, transcend himself, and then he can transcend the Faceless Man. You must know that even if it is a single ability, the Faceless Man can play the ultimate. With the same speed, the same reaction awareness, and the same knife speed, the Faceless Man has a more terrifying combat strategy ability. He can exert his strength to the strongest. According to the settings for the Faceless Man, as long as he defeats the level 60 white-silver boss Faceless Man with all-round abilities, then Lu Han will have the ability to kill the enemy by leaps and bounds, invincible at the same level, and kill by leaps and bounds. In other words, at that time, Lu Han would have the strength to kill level 60 gold bosses. And if he just defeats the level 60 white-silver boss Faceless Man with sword skills, then Lu Han will have the invincible strength of sword skills at the same level. With other abilities, you can also challenge to higher levels. Lu Han wants to defeat White Fang. As long as he can defeat the level 60 white-silver boss Faceless Man, he can defeat White Fang. Of course, this is based on the premise that White Fang does not grow. Poochie. The light of the knife flickered, and the blood was dripping. The Faceless Man's knife pierced Lu Han's body from the side and the back, injuring Lu Han's internal organs and penetrating the wounds. As long as the Faceless Man made another force to shake the knife, he could smash all Lu Han's internal organs into pieces. Even if Lu Han is a subversive, even if his bones are extremely hard, he will lose half of his blood because of this. Under the attack of the Faceless, he doesn't even have a chance to drink medicine. Stop! Lu Han hurriedly shouted. The Faceless man pulled back with a knife and stood still. Until then, he didn't look like a puppet. 17 minutes, I lasted for 17 minutes. Good. Although Lu Han was seriously injured, he smiled. You must know that he initially challenged a level 60 white silver boss Faceless man, but he couldn't hold on for 10 seconds. Now he has been able to hold on for 17 minutes. According to past experience, as long as Lu Han can endure under the Faceless man for 30 minutes, he will have the opportunity to kill the Faceless man at the cost of being injured. Kill the Faceless man. Progress. Progress is good. Lu Han took out a few big Yuhi bottles to quickly recover from the injury, and then meditated to speed up the recovery of chakra. He had a lot of big Yuhi bottles, but not many big blue bottles, so he dared to waste the former, but the latter had to be used sparingly. When his physical condition fully recovered, Lu Han got up and wanted to fight the Faceless man again, but he heard a voice from outside the cave practice field. Captain, Lord Hokage is looking for you. A cold voice came from outside. It was the nameless Anbu ninja of the Zero Squadron. The cave training ground was in a sealed state and could be adjusted. At this time, the sound inside the cave could not pass through, but the sound from outside the cave could enter the cave. Lu Han was taking time out of his busy schedule to practice the exercises, so naturally he had to let someone notify him of something. Understood. Lu Han replied, put away the Faceless man, untied the seal and walked out. Anbu ninja who came to inform Lu Han, codenamed Xuanyi, is an extremely old Anbu ninja who participated in the First Ninja War. Special, they cannot hold important positions in Anbu. In fact, they are the backbone of Anbu. In the forest, the two moved in tandem. Where to go? Lu Han asked suddenly. Zan took the road, but did not return to the village. Route. Zan Yi replied. Route station. Danzo is back. Lu Han's heart was shocked. Others didn't know that Danzo was not in retreat but on a mission, but Lu Han knew that he was Captain Anbu. Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't hide this from him. Danzo was only for him that he went out on a mission. The route station is also in the back mountain, which is also underground. If there is no Xuanyi Road, Lu Han can't enter the route station. Although the route belongs to Anbu, it also exists independently. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen can't mobilize the route ninja. Lu Han, the captain of Anbu, naturally cannot come at will. The route station, in the dimly lit cave with a huge area. Call. Two winds rolled up one after another. Lu Han and Xuanyi appeared one after another. Lu Han opened the insight map the first time he appeared, and dozens of Yuhi points appeared in the insight map, among which there was a green point. Sure enough, Lu Han said in a heartbeat. Senju Senluo, at this time, is in the route station. Judging from the structural phantom on the map, Senju is locked in the deepest space of the route station. This guy is the ace of the route. If it is not normal for his brain, weird thinking, and its rating will not be as simple as a 55-level diamond boss. You know, Senluo was a character who could contain boiling rain at the beginning. There are already several people in the cave hall, namely Sarutobi Hiruzen, Danzo, several Anbu nameless ninjas, and several ninjas from the Kagaya family of the water country. Lu Han immediately knew what Sarutobi Hiruzen had asked him to do, but his expression changed and his brows furrowed. Let him kill, he naturally dares, but these Kagaya ninjas are still children. The youngest is only 6 or 7 years old, and the oldest is no more than 10 years old. Also, they are not Yuhi names. Chapter 0578 _ can't kill innocent people. Girl, all tied up with special ropes and thrown on the ground like livestock. That said, some of them may not be official ninjas yet. They were all awake, fear flashing in their eyes. They were all caught by Danzo. Obviously, the easiest way to capture Kagaya clan ninjas is to capture children with extremely poor or even no strength. Adult Kagaya ninjas are extremely difficult to capture alive. Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse played to ultimate, will deplete the chakra, and the result is death. Moreover, even if they cut off the hands and feet of the Kagaya clan ninjas, they can still use Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse to attack or even commit suicide. All ninja clans with Kekkei Genkei have a kind of awareness that they cannot let Kekkei Genkei Gaiden. Example, Uchiha ninjas. In the first ninja war, many Uchiha ninjas chose to blind their eyes before they died in order to prevent Sharingan from spreading. The same is true for the Kagaya clan. They are afraid that they will be used for experiments after being captured alive, so they basically fight to the death. This is also the reason why the Kagaya clan gradually weakens. Unlike the Uchiha clan is a genius clan. Almost everyone Sharingan can be activated at the age of 10 or at the age of 20. The Hyuga family is even more terrifying with the natural Byakugan, while the Kagaya family does not have this talent. The ninjas who can control Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse keep fighting to death. There are fewer descendants, and fewer ninjas can awaken and control Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse. It is estimated that in more than 10 years, Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse is likely to disappear. This is the case in the original book. The last ninja of the Kagaya family who has Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse and can use Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse is Kimimaro. Kimimaro was born in Konoha 45 years, and now, it is Konoha 32 years. When Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Luhan coming, he raised his hand and motioned for the others to go out. In the end, except for the 4 Kagaya children, there were only 4 people left in the cave. Luhan, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Danzo. Another one, standing behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, shrouded in black robes, looks extremely mysterious, but Luhan knows the identity of this person because Luhan can see the name on the top of this guy's head. Kurigakure Missing Nin, Level 40 White Silver Boss, Kagaya Sakai. Luhan's heart moved. This guy is Kurigakure Missing Nin, and he is a ninja of Wie's clan, and he is standing behind Danzo. This is worth thinking about. You once told me that as long as you kill some Kagaya ninjas, you can get the Kekkei Genkei Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse they have. Sarutobi Hiruzen opened his mouth and gestured to Luhan, who asked Luhan to look. There are a few trembling children. Now, I have brought people, let's do it. Danzo looked at Luhan and sneered in his heart. He wanted to see Luhan die. In his heart, Luhan has already died. As long as Luhan can't prove it, according to what Sarutobi Hiruzen said before, Luhan will step down as captain of Anbu, join the route, and belong to Danzo. At that time, Danzo will naturally have 100 ways to kill Luhan. Coldplay dead. He doesn't believe that Luhan can get Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse after killing the Kagaya ninja. First, he doesn't believe that Luhan has this ability. Second, these kids were specially selected by Danzo. They do have Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse, but they can't control Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse at all. That's right, he has already done his tricks. That is to say, even if Luhan really has the ability to copy, he can copy to Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse at most, but he can't control Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse, so he can't prove it. They are still children. They have never been on the battlefield and can't resist me. I don't want to kill innocent people, Luhan said hoarsely, looking at the children. Hangwang, what are you trying to say? You don't dare to kill. Danzo jumped out and sneered. Captain Anbu, Hangwang, when did you become a soft-hearted person? It's ridiculous. I think you are clearly lying. You didn't expect Lord Hokage to ask me to arrest people, right? You don't have the ability to copy the power of the dead at all. Sarutobi Hiruzen also frowned and looked at Luhan. Luhan's reason for not wanting to do anything is indeed a bit lame. What is the indiscriminate killing of innocents? How many Konoha ninjas were killed by Kurigakure ninjas? They were sons, wives, husbands. How many Konoha wives and Ions broke up their families? All of them were caused by Kurigakure. At this time Konoha and Kurigakure were in a state of hostility. Any ninja in Kurigakure village, or those who were gifted to become ninjas, are all enemies of Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen is not a soft-hearted person. In fact, neither Lu Han. But he didn't plan to kill these children of the Kagaya family. Although their ages affected Lu Han's psychology, the real reason was that they had orange names. They are afraid, fear, maybe even don't know what's going on, don't know where it is. Lu Han will not kill orange name. Because he didn't know if there would be punishment. After he came to this world, he killed hundreds of people, but all of them were named Yuhi. Lu Han had never killed Chengming, so he didn't know what the consequences of killing Chengming would be. He had already asked the elf what would happen to killing innocents indiscriminately, but the elf didn't answer him. Lu Han thought for a while, looked up at Danzo and asked, "Who is he?" Lu Han looked at the mysterious man in black robe behind Danzo. "He is a ninja who just joined Konoha. It was with his help that I caught these little devils in the village of Kurigakure and successfully escaped from the land of water." Danzo sneered, "You thought that sneaking into the tightly locked Kurigakure is the village easy. I risked my life to catch these brats. If you can't prove it today, you won't even want to get out of here." Past, Danzo wouldn't say such things, but today he dared to say it because Sarutobi Hiruzen had promised him that if Lu Han really couldn't prove it, he wouldn't have to leave here. "Is he Kurigakure missing Nin?" Lu Han looked at Kagaya Sakai. "Huh." Danzo's expression changed, but he didn't say it was missing Nin. "I felt the breath of Shikatsumiku, dead bone pulse, in him." Lu Han's voice became deeper and deeper, and suddenly disappeared in place. Kagaya Sakai in an instant. The blade of Kurigakure is out. Anger cut. Chapter 0579_Danzo nearly killed. "Dare you!" Danzo shouted loudly. He was right in front of Kagaya Sakai. He reacted very quickly. He turned around and reached out and grabbed Kagaya Sakai's shoulders. He threw Kagaya Sakai out at the same time as Lu Han's sword light fell. Puff! Blood poured like rain. Kagaya Sakai's head had already been cut off by Lu Han with a knife. He was an elite Jonin, but under Lu Han's attack, he had no resistance, and he had no time to react. And Danzo, indeed, threw Kagaya Sakai's body out. It was a headless corpse. Kagaya Sakai along with some falling objects, and turned into a streamer and drilled into Lu Han's body. The 4 children were already screaming in horror, and one even fainted after the cry. Lu Han threw off the blood on the knife, put it back into its sheath, and his eyes were calm, as if he was not the one who just killed him. Although Kagaya Sakai didn't provoke him, as long as it was Yuhi's name, he could kill him. Say, Kagaya Sakai has joined Konoha. Normally, a new ninja who joins Konoha should not be hostile to Captain Anbu unless Danzo told him something. Danzo's eyes were splitting, and a terrifying aura rose from his whole body. He stared at Lu Han and bit Kiba, "Han Guang. In front of me and Lord Hokage, how dare you kill Konoha ninja wantonly? This time what else do you have to say?" Lu Han said nothing and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen. "Okay there's nothing to say, right?" Danzo was furious. He hated Lu Han for a long time, and this time, Kagaya Sakai was the one who managed to turn back the Kagaya Sakai at a great cost. It was planned to arrange Kagaya Sakai in Anbu for the experiment on Shikatsumiku, dead bone pulse, but Lu Han slashed him. He didn't wait for Sarutobi Hiruzen to speak, but he couldn't help but do something to Lu Han. He believes that even if he kills Han Guang at this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen can't say anything. After all, the truth is in him. Futon, wind style, shining jade. Danzo rushed to Lu Han's body. A faint blue light appeared on his right hand, and the unstable futon, wind style, chakra formed a miniature tornado in his palm, rushing towards Lu Han. The cold face knocked on the door. Lu Han raised his brows. Danzo's futon, wind style, ninjutsu can be cast instantly, and in terms of how it is performed, it is somewhat similar to Rasengan. Did you just develop this technique? Lu Han thought about it, but there was no ambiguity in his hands. Left hand was instantly provoked, and LV9 Ultimate Rasengan flashed in his palm. Boom! LV9 Ultimate Rasengan collided with the shining jade, and the terrifying strangling power instantly tore Danzo to pieces, but Luhan's heart suddenly burst, and his figure disappeared in a flash. Brush. Danzo, who appeared behind Luhan like a ghost, slashed with a knife, but he was cut empty. Danzo had a plan for a long time. It took him a day or two to conceive how to kill Luhan. Danzo, who was torn apart after casting the shining jade just now, was just a clone. When I went to the land of water once, my strength has grown a bit. It's really not easy at this age. Luhan appeared behind Danzo, and the sword light was like thunder. Minutes, fight hundreds of tricks. Danzo has indeed become stronger. His sword is already very strong. After all, he is the root leader. He is not strong enough, and he cannot train top assassins. Coupled with the help of various unique forbidden techniques, Luhan only uses swordsmanship to fight with him. Resist, but it is impossible to defeat it immediately. However, Luhan's growth rate was too pervert. After 100 moves, Luhan found Danzo's flaw. Even if Danzo used the forbidden technique to assist him, he couldn't escape Luhan's attack. Luhan followed him like a shadow. A foot-long mouth. Why did this kid become so powerful? How long has it been? Damn it. Danzo was terrified, and what made him even more terrified was that Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't care. Hangwang, you forced me, don't blame me. Danzo roared, his body burst with blood mist, and his speed suddenly increased, throwing Luhan away, and at the same time, he folded his hands and quickly turned around. Ninjutsu, space eradication technique. A chakra Uzumaki appeared in front of Danzo, and the Uzumaki was black like a black hole, spinning rapidly, exuding a powerful pulling force. Luhan's body approached Danzo uncontrollably, and he was pulled by some kind of force. Danzo's forehead burst with blue veins, and his eyes were bloodshot. Obviously, he would have to pay a huge price for this technique. I can't be pulled over by him. Although I have a chance to kill him then, that Uzumaki might kill me too. Thoughts flashed in Luhan's mind. Luhan simply held the knife and folded his hands together. Mangekyo open. Left eye pupil, heaven and earth move. The heaven and the earth seemed to reverse. Strange energy fluctuations built a bridge between Luhan and Danzo. Luhan's chakra instantly decreased by 60%. And the black Uzumaki in front of Danzo appeared strangely in front of Luhan, pulling the power suddenly reversed. Danzo showed disbelief in his eyes, and flew towards Luhan uncontrollably. To be precise, he was pulled by the black Uzumaki. This is his technique. He is deeply aware of the power of this technique. Once it is within 2 meters of the black Uzumaki will explode and expand in an instant, forming a terrifying chakra turbulence, enough to tear the steel into powder, not to mention the human body. No, Danzo roared bitterly. Once upon a time, Danzo could still fight Luhan to the death, but now, he is no longer Luhan's opponent. Danzo is about to be killed. Enough. Sarutobi Hiruzen's deep shout finally came. The terrifying coercion followed, and Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared in front of Danzo in a flash, quickly hand seal, and hit 7 chains of curse seals in a row, forming a strong blockade in front of him. The black Uzumaki couldn't pull him at all, and the 3 after a breath, the black Uzumaki disappeared due to the lack of chakra supply, and Danzo fell to his knees beside Sarutobi Hiruzen. Ouch! Danzo spurted a mouthful of thick blood on the ground, and the whole person suddenly became extremely sluggish, and the force of ninjutsu's backlash had hit him hard. The turbulence dissipated and everything was calm. Han Guang, do you really want to kill him? Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was gloomy. Yeah, Luhan replied with a nasal voice, and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chapter 0580 How to Control the Cold Light. Luhan dare to kill Danzo. Dare. Dare to be the face of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Dare to. That's what he did just now. In the past, Luhan always looked forward to the future, but now, he doesn't have so many scruples. Danzo dares to do something to him, no matter who Danzo is around, he dares to kill. It was almost a moment ago, if it wasn't for Sarutobi Hiruzen's blocking, Danzo would have died. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Lu Han with deep eyes. He felt more and more that Hengguang was difficult to control, but now he realized that with Hengguang's character, the more you wanted to control him, the more it would backfire. He also knows how to forbear, but now, he is strong enough, less forbearance, more arrogant. You know, he's Hokage's assistant. And you, Konoha's ninja. Sarutobi Hiruzen said solemnly. It doesn't matter whether he is Hokage's assistant or not, the important thing is that he dared to draw a sword against me. Lu Han said, it's him. If he wants to be my enemy, I only kill the enemy. Just kill the enemy. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes narrowed, and he raised his hand to point to the corpse not far away. What about him? Is he your enemy? Why did you kill him? The person Sarutobi Hiruzen was referring to was Kagaya Sakai. Kagaya Sakai had just arrived at Konoha, and he did not provoke Lu Han, but was slashed by Lu Han. He has the aura of Shikatsumiku, dead bone pulse, and his bloodline is stronger. Only by killing him will I have a better chance of getting Shikatsumiku, dead bone pulse Kekkei Genkei. Lu Han continued, besides, then the guy is Kurigakure missing nin. As an adult ninja, he must have the blood of the Konoha ninja on his hands. He is perfidious and can abandon the clan to come to Konoha. Such a person can't be trusted. He is not fit to be a Konoha ninja. He is the enemy. Lu Han's words are a bit arrogant. After all, according to the rules, as long as Sarutobi Hiruzen agrees, no matter where the ninja comes from, he can become a Konoha ninja. However, words have won the heart of Sarutobi Hiruzen. In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen also hates missing nin, and even dislikes the missing nin brought back by Danzo. If the two had not made an agreement before, Sarutobi Hiruzen would not have agreed to Kagaya Sakai to join Konoha. Ninjas who come back to join Konoha will become root ninjas, that is to say, he becomes a Konoha ninja, but not a ninja under Sarutobi Hiruzen. In fact, in comparison, Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't care about Kurigakure missing nin's life or death. He cares more about whether Hengguang has obtained Shikatsumiku, dead bone pulse. Cough cough cough. Danzo knelt on one knee on the ground, lowered his head and suddenly began to cough violently. He was seriously injured. He was slashed 3 times on his body. He used the forbidden technique to injure himself. So serious. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at Danzo with drooping eyelids, and said coldly, go and heal. There was no unnecessary concern. Danzo was so badly injured. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked cold and ruthless. Sarutobi Hiruzen was angry. Not only the cold light, but also the Danzo. It was Danzo who didn't say hello, and didn't wait for Hengguang to make any explanation, and then he wanted to kill someone, which is why he ended up now. This is transcendence, no matter what. As long as Sarutobi Hiruzen does not remove Lu Han from his post, then Lu Han is Anbu Captain Hongguang, and Sarutobi Hiruzen's hardcore confidant. Before Sarutobi Hiruzen said anything, Danzo wanted to kill Hongguang, which he naturally couldn't accept. This is also the reason why Sarutobi Hiruzen just dragged and did not stop the two from fighting immediately. He wanted to teach Danzo a lesson. Danzo disappeared beside Sarutobi Hiruzen without a word, leaving only Lu Han, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 4 children, and a corpse in the cave hall. ... It seems that you were ready. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Lu Han. As you said, you should have obtained Shikatsumiku, dead bone pulse by now. Lu Han raised his hand suddenly, the 5 fingers of his right hand pointed at Sarutobi Hiruzen, and strange chakra fluctuations rippled around him. Shikatsumiku, dead bone pulse, 10-finger piercing. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The 5 phalanges turned into 5 white shadows, and they shot at Sarutobi Hiruzen like a bullet. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't blink, standing there motionless. 5 bone bullets flew past his head, left ear, right ear, above left shoulder, and above right shoulder, hitting the distance behind Sarutobi Hiruzen. On the stone wall, a cloud of smoke was stirred up. It is naturally impossible for Lu Han to take the initiative to attack Sarutobi Hiruzen, but it is disrespectful for him to show Shikatsumiku, dead bone pulse, in such a way. Okay. Sarutobi Hiruzen only said this word, and finally gave Luhan a deep look, and he disappeared into the cave. Gone. Back in Lord Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen sat in a chair, dragging his forehead with his hand, and sat silently for hours without moving a single time. He is thinking about how to control the cold light. Yes, he has not considered other issues now. Han Guang has proved that Kekkei Genkei can be copied, which once again proves his importance. Although there are still some problems in Han Guang, Sarutobi Hiruzen no longer wants to think about it so much. Hold it tightly in your hand. As long as you can hold it tight, no matter how many problems there are, it will no longer be a problem. Sarutobi Hiruzen could not question Han Guang's loyalty to Konoha. Call Huyang here. At dusk, Sarutobi Hiruzen sent orders to the door. Short time later, Hyuga Huyang, the chief of Hyuga main clan, came to the Hokage office and greeted Sarutobi Hiruzen respectfully. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his hand and signaled that Hyuga Huyang should not be too polite. Effective and safest. The entire Konoha, no one understands the word control better than Hyuga Huyang, because he alone controls the entire Hyuga family and controls their life and death. Curse seal. Hyuga Huyang replied simply, the human heart is unpredictable, and people's hearts can change, so the curse seal is the most effective and safest. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a while, then shook his head. How could Han Guang be willing to be controlled like this? What else? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked again. Also, Hyuga Huyang thought for a moment before saying, if he is a person who values interests, he will give him a lot of benefits. If he is a person who values love and righteousness, he will use the curse to control the people around him. If his mind is unstable and fickle, a man, let him be afraid. Quote. Sarutobi Hiruzen narrowed his eyes slightly. He thought of the people around Han Guang. Tsunade.